Hello and welcome to Metal Vice, a podcast where we talk about all things music.
Well, the things we care about.
That's right, which is mainly metal music and live music. This is our 100th episode.
Yeah, and you're Brian.
Oh, shit,
and
yes.
I'm Karen.
Yes.
We've done this 100 episodes and you don't know the intro.
Yeah,
It's fine.
Whatever. It is what it is.
It's our 100th episode.
Our 100th episode. What we're going to be talking about here, and in some extent, is the Metallica show we saw in Madrid.
Madrid, Spain, yep.
Yeah, we struggled to figure out what we were going to do for a 100th episode. It seems like it should be something a little special, maybe. So we debated back and forth on what to do and whatnot. We kind of landed on this because it was supposed to be our first European trip and our first European music as well, seeing shows over in Europe or outside of America, honestly. So by far, that's the biggest thing we've done music-related outside of possibly trying to start a podcast, right?
Yeah. I mean, I would say Headbangers is pretty big, but...
It is pretty big, yeah.
Going to Europe to see a show has been on our list for a while. Well, going to Europe has been on our list for a while. Have the opportunity to see a show while we're there was pretty awesome.
So I guess that gets into why Madrid and why Metallica, right? Like you said, we've wanted to go to Europe for a long, long time. We got to earlier this year because you got to go for work.
I had to be there for work, yes.
And I tagged along for 1 week of your 3-week stay there. And there happened to be shows, so we checked out some shows as well, right?
Yeah, we saw some shows in Dublin and Limerick.
That was all sort of, not necessarily last minute, but it wasn't necessarily planned of like, hey, we're going to make this trip and do this thing, right?
It was more, we filled in our time with shows that were in Ireland at the time and not, we're planning this around a show.
And if you hadn't gone for work, we would have not been there and not done
we would
those
never
things,
seen those shows, yeah.
If you weren't there on those 3 particular weeks, we wouldn't have seen those particular shows,
Exactly.
right? So,
exactly.
We would have found music, we would have found something, but not those particular shows. In any case, this was intended to be our first trip to Europe, and we'd been talking about it for years, and Spain was one of the places we had always wanted to go. I always wanted to go to Spain.
Yeah. I think I've had other places that I wanted to go more.
Like Germany.
I think Germany's the place I've wanted to go a long time.
Germany's definitely on the list of places to go.
But yeah, I mean, Spain, you've wanted to go to Spain for a very, very long time.
Yeah. I don't know why. Honestly, I don't know why. I think I've wanted to go to like the Mediterranean and sit on the coast on like a beach or something and just hang out and relax on like that coastal sort of region.
Yeah, that's not Madrid.
That is not Madrid. Madrid is definitely landlocked, I believe, right? There might be rivers, but...
Well, yeah, but it's definitely inland.
Yeah, inland. So a few years ago now, or maybe a year and a half ago now or whatnot.
Yeah, probably 18 months, because I think it was like fall of 2022 when they announced.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly when they announced, but Metallica released their 72 Seasons album, and they announced a massive 2-year world tour. That if you don't know about it, it's just sort of, they do one leg in Europe, X number of shows, I can't remember what it is, like
six or seven
stops or whatever it is.
Well, and maybe some festivals in there too, I can't remember.
Right.
Yeah.
And then they come back to the States and do essentially the same thing in the States, 1 year in 2023, which we saw the Detroit show.
Yep, that was the only one we went to in 2023. Yep.
And then they did it again in 2024, again in Europe, and then North America, that's going on right now as we record this.
Yeah.
Actually, tonight is Edmonton's Night 2 show.
Yep.
They went to Chicago a few weeks back, so we went to both of those shows. We'll do an episode on that sometime down the road. Otherwise, it's going to be Metallica.
Yeah. We did. So it was like, 3 weeks between the 2 shows or 4 weeks between the Metallica shows. So yeah, we'll post the Chicago shows later. But.
Yeah. So when they announced, we looked at the dates and what dates would possibly work for us. And again, this was like a year to 2 years out when they announced, because we could have done that next summer or the summer after that. And Madrid was on there. Spain, always wanted to go to Spain. I think Stockholm, Sweden was on there.
In 2024, yep.
We wanted to go to Sweden for a long time too, mainly because of Avatar and all the
Swedish fucking bands.
Yes, Avatar, Ghost.
Avatar was probably our first
Culture.
band that we got into that was Swedish, and then after that it was like just going down the rabbit hole of Swedish bands.
Every band's fucking from Sweden apparently. So many fucking bands. I listed off a few: Amon Amarth, Arch Enemy. Like, just, it goes on and on and on. Halo Effect. Like, there's so many fucking amazing.
I'm sure there's hundreds that we've never even heard of.
Like, Yeah, and there's so many more,
It's
right?
huge.
So it's like, what the fuck is the scene like there? Let's go to Sweden, and that's definitely on the list now for sure.
Yeah. And we talked about seeing Metallica in Sweden,
Right.
but
I think the tickets for the plane were
the flights
outrageous.
are outrageous. For our budget, they're outrageous, I should say.
Yeah.
So,
not to say that Spain was cheap by any
oh
means.
no, not. But I mean, we don't need to get into the financials of it, but we weren't planning on you coming to Dublin.
Yeah,
so our whole plan was to use miles to buy our Spain tickets.
Right. And we did a whole episode on how we travel for shows, and part of that is use the same airline for everything, and not just shows in general. Use the same airline you always use,
and we use a credit card with that airline,
and use a hotel.
Yep.
Just stay with the same hotel and bank up the rewards, the points for each one of those, and then you have those points and rewards to use for future stays and travel, which is how we paid for the hotel for this.
Yes,
for instance,
for Spain,
right?
we used points for the whole hotel. So,
and that was also the point for the tickets, but obviously, like you said, Ireland kind of threw a wrench in that.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't need to have you come to Ireland.
We
but
did not, but it was awesome
it
that
was
we could
fine.
do both.
Yeah.
In any case, we ended up landing on Madrid because, again, I've always wanted to go to Spain. You've wanted to go as well, but Madrid was like, all right, let's go there. It's in the middle of the summer. It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. Let's buy the tickets for this.
Yep.
As sort of a, now we have tickets, so we have to go.
Right. So in 18 months, we'll make it to Europe.
Right.
Or whatever it was, 18 months, 20 months, whatever. I don't remember what the whole time frame was.
Which I think is also why we picked the 2024 date and not a 2023
It
date.
was, yeah.
Give us some time to save up a little bit
It
more.
was, because I don't remember the Europe shows for 2023, but we knew at that point we were like, well, we can't do a Europe show financially at that time. So we needed the time to bank points, basically.
Yeah, so once we had one picked out and they went on sale, it was like 10 a.m. local time where when the tickets went on sale.
Yeah.
So I set my alarm to get up at like 3:30 in the morning the day they went on sale.
Yeah.
Because it was local time and we're like 7 hours back or something like that.
Yeah. And we didn't know how fast these tickets would sell. So
We did not. And I wanted to make sure we got them when they went on sale right away. And we did. We got GA tickets on the floor for $208.73 with $55.31 in fees.
for 2 shows. That's the cheapest I think we've ever seen Metallica.
Well, of this tour for sure, and of the recent years. I don't know about 2009 when we saw them in Des Moines. That was probably $80, honestly.
Oh, okay. We should have looked that up.
That was probably $80. It's on our ticket stub.
It is on our tickets,
You can
but
take a look, and we'll probably throw it up here on the
okay. So
screen.
$104 per show. We'll just say that.
Yeah, that's still fucking cheap. Out of
So cheap.
this run as well, like you said, we saw them 3 weeks later in Chicago.
It was $315.
$315 for that with $81.08 in fees.
Yeah,
Like,
and I think Detroit was even more than that.
I think so. I think no. Chicago was definitely the most
Oh,
expensive.
was it? Okay.
Detroit, let's pull that up real quick as
It's
well.
November.
Here we go. Detroit was $295.
Oh, okay. Okay. But
Close.
only 44 in fees. So
Only $44 in fees. I think Chicago's just a higher market.
It is,
so
yeah.
it's like whatever. But cheapest fucking show. European tickets, fucking awesome.
yeah.
This was also at the
Estadio Civitas Metropolitano.
that stadium is Atletico Madrid is the stadium there, not Real Madrid, but the Atletico ones. Yeah, and the dates for this were July 12th and July 14th. So we also for openers we had Architects, Mammoth, Wolfgang Van Halen, Five Finger Death Punch for the second night, and Ice Nine Kills also for the second night.
Yeah. So for the European shows, Architects played with them instead of Pantera.
Yes.
Where in the U.S., Pantera is on the first night. So.
Exactly.
Or I guess not U.S., the North America shows.
Yes, the
Yeah.
North America shows because they're in
They're going to Mexico
Canada
City.
and Mexico City.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, Canada too. That is North America.
That's North America. So in any case, that's why
That's why we went to Madrid.
went to Madrid. That's exactly what we're saying. I'm gonna keep rambling.
Yeah.
But getting into the music, and again, we went there for the music. That was
Yes.
the main reason, and
Yes.
the main driver.
Yeah.
We did want to go just to go and experience it, but also what got us to finally go over that hump of
Yeah.
we'll do it later. We'll do it again.
Yeah.
We'll do it someday. We'll do it someday. Just put a date on it, and we will do it this date.
Yeah, I think, I mean, everybody probably has this where it's like, oh, I want to do that. And it's like, but we are always, something always came up. And if we wouldn't have bought these tickets, we probably, I mean, there were shows that week that we could have went and saw around the Midwest. And I'm just like, you know, if we wouldn't have said we're going to see Metallica on this date, we probably would have picked one of those closer shows.
Because it's like, why? They're going to be in Chicago 3 weeks later. You're going to see them, like, you live in fucking Chicago. Why the fuck, right?
Yeah, why would you go all the way to Madrid?
But we've always wanted to go there.
Yeah.
But the music is what finally got us to go there. So let's talk briefly about the show. We've already done a little bit with the ticket prices and everything like we always do, but let's get into the show itself.
So we're not going to go through the set list. Metallica posts their set list on Instagram and probably other social medias the night after the show or the day after the show.
Yeah, and we'll throw those up here as well. So if you're listening to this and you're interested, if you haven't seen it already, like just like you said, go check out their Instagram. They're going to have those up there. Also, it's basically the exact same.
Yeah. I mean, they're like, what, 3 or 4 songs different per show?
I think so. I think when we did the Chicago show for this year, because we didn't count Detroit this year, we added 4 or 5 songs that were unique to Chicago versus Madrid.
Yeah.
But there's a few slots where they can play around with for sure.
Yeah. So, but anyways, so we'll put them up on YouTube. So if you're just listening on podcast, you can always check out our YouTube, or Metallica has them listed as well.
And we touched on the bands a little bit. We've already talked about Wolfgang. We've talked about Ice Nine and Five Finger. We've talked about all of them before. We'll talk about them more in depth when it comes to like the Chicago show.
I was going to touch on some stuff though.
Okay, cool. The one thing I wanted to touch on though, talk about, you can definitely go into those, but the one thing I want to talk about was the Architects, because that was my first time seeing them, or your first time seeing them as well. But you've listened to them before, I believe, right?
Yeah.
I had no clue what the fuck they were. And they came out, and you know what? I fucking loved their
Did you really?
It was so good.
Holy shit. Do you know what genre they are?
Probably some stupid fucking core metal of some shit.
They're a British metalcore band. That's so funny, though.
Metalcore. You don't have to be like they're British metalcore.
But they are. They're from Britain.
They are from Britain,
So I just wanted to point out that they're from Britain, not like... Not somewhere here in the U.S. Anyways.
Gotcha. But they're a metalcore band. There are a few metalcore bands I like. I do like Wage War. There's a few metalcore bands I fucking hate. This falls into the one I like a lot. Yeah. Because their music isn't very like emo-y. It's harder. It's fun. I like it. It's so good.
Yeah.
And they worked the stage really well. They had a lot of fun with the crowd because they came out. Also, if you don't know much about sports ball and especially soccer, which I don't either, at this time were the Euro Cups, which are basically like a World Cup, but only with European teams, I think. And it happens
I forgot about this.
It happens every 4 years or so. And Spain.
Spain.
Madrid is in Spain. It's the capital of Spain.
Yeah, but it's the Spain team.
The Spanish national team was in the semifinals the night before. They won, or a couple nights before, they won that, and they're going to the finals, which were going to be played on the 14th, Metallica's last night there.
Yep.
And Architects, the couple nights before, came out wearing a Spanish jersey. And at the very end, he's like, hey, so we have a Euro Cup tomorrow, right? If you don't know, we're from England, I think he said from England. And you guys are playing us. And he took off the Spanish jersey to reveal an English jersey under it. And the whole crowd just like boos him, starts flipping him off. And he's like, may the best team win. And like the whole crowd just cheers at that point. Like it was all a joke with the crowd booing him and flipping him off and shit. And just it was fucking awesome to represent both countries and represent like, this is big for both of us, but hey, we're here for the music. It made me smile and made me so happy to see that and just like be there to experience that. It was awesome.
Yeah. I liked their performance as well. I do want to see it. I mean, they were here in Chicago, but we didn't make it earlier this year.
Were
but
they?
Yeah, they were.
I don't remember that. All right.
Yeah. I mean, we couldn't make it, so I probably didn't say like, they're here sort of thing. Or they were here like later and we couldn't make. Either they were coming to US, but either way I mean, this was only a month ago, so no, it had to be.
They've been here
earlier.
And we couldn't make it because of whatever reason.
Anyways, but I want to see them in like a smaller show. Because like the Metallica stage, so we talked about it with Detroit, but it's the same stage for this whole tour, and it's like a snake pit. They call it a snake pit, but a pit in the middle, and then the stage is a circle, and then we had GA tickets, so we're like on the outside of that circle. Yep. So when everybody's playing, the bands do different things, but like their drum kit's generally in one spot, and then the other people, like the guitar, bassist, and vocalists, will move around the stage as much as they can. So you're not always seeing what's going on.
Yep.
At least I'm not, because I'm below everybody. But so I do want to see Architects in like a more of like a
normal stage.
A normal stage, yeah, like at a venue here in Chicago.
A smaller venue, not necessarily a festival either, but like a normal.
Yeah,
like,
not necessarily a festival.
Stage.
Yeah, because a festival, well, depending on what the festival is, like Milwaukee Metal Fest is a little different, but
sure, yeah,
like I don't want to really see them at like a Louder Than Life or something like
exactly.
that. Yeah.
But see him on tour either as a headliner or an opener in like just a club show or a small venue like
a smaller venue.
Aragon, Radius, the Rave, something like that. Would
exactly.
Be sweet. I agree with that. Like the stage is fucking massive and it's really hard to work it. But given that, they worked it really well. In contrast, Wolfgang, we saw him in Detroit, and we thought that performance sucked ass.
Yeah, we didn't like it.
I did feel like it was better.
For
this show as well.
I was gonna say I feel like it's better too. Now, granted, they kind of still stay on like one half of the stage because of the microphones. Like they aren't moving
Wolfgang
around.
For sure, yeah.
Like they're not moving as much around. But in Spain, I don't know what it was with Spain, but like I feel like we were like the stage wasn't. I mean, it's the same stage, but it seemed like we were either up higher or the stage wasn't up high, or it did, like I was able to see more.
It did feel like the stage may have been a little bit lower, or we were in the right spot, or I don't know what it was. It did feel that way as well, or maybe we were just closer. It wasn't as packed in. I'm not sure either, but it did feel that way for sure.
Yeah, I could just see more, but yeah, I was gonna bring up with Wolfgang too that the performance sounded better. It was a little bit more interactive, that sort of thing. Where Detroit, I didn't like the Detroit show. We have a whole episode on it, but it was so echoey and like I felt like the sound was bad for every band. The lights were bad. I didn't care for it. And going to that show, knowing that we had floor tickets with the round stage and the setup was going to be the same for 3 shows, or I guess 2 more shows because we bought 3 tickets, that I was like, oh, this is going to suck. So now we have to see them in Madrid that way and in Chicago that way. However, seeing this Madrid show changed my mind on it because it was bad. I don't know what it was, if the setup was better or if just the venue's better or what, but it was just a better experience.
Again, I think the stage is a definite like hindrance to this band. They don't do well on the stage. The other guitarists moved around a bit more. I remember them moving around quite a bit. Did sort of hang out over by the drum kit a bit. But Wolfgang didn't move around a whole lot. He did move and look in the pit and behind the pit quite a bit.
And I don't remember that in Detroit.
I don't remember that either. So he worked the stage a little bit better. I think he's just getting more comfortable in the spotlight and being sort of the front.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about this here in a little bit, but we talked to a couple who said the same thing, that he's just feeling more comfortable in what his role is, right?
Yeah.
You mentioned the lights and the sound. The sound I thought was fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
The lights, you felt like Detroit was bright. It was pretty fucking bright here for this show, but because this venue is a outdoor venue.
It is outdoor, and the sun does not set in Madrid until after 10 p.m.
It was weird, but sweet. It was so cool. It was fucking insanely hot as well.
It was like, I only remember when Metallica went on stage, it was 97 degrees.
There's one point during Metallica's set where James turns over to Kurt and he's like, aren't you hot in that fucking jacket or something? And Kurt's just like, no, I'm comfortable. No fucking way you're comfortable.
No, there's no way.
Shit.
No, it was one of those times where like everybody's just sweaty ass mess, and we're all just gonna be a sweaty ass mess. We'll take a shower when we get back.
Exactly.
Like, just go with it, sort of thing. But like, it's a memory now, I guess. Like I was kind of dreading it when going into it because I saw how hot it was gonna be that day, and I was just like, oh, this is gonna suck. But like, the sun sucked. But once the sun went behind the stadium, it got better. It was still hot. It was still 97 degrees, but it got better.
There was a point where the sun was setting. It was so cool because this is, again, it's an outdoor venue, but it's got one of those sort of awnings that go over a good chunk of the top of it. So there's still a giant hole in the center, but there's this like awning thing that comes over to cover
like it kind of goes like this.
Cover the seats and part of the ground as well. So as the sun moves, you get some shade and whatnot. But between that awning and the top of where the seats are, there's this little gap. And at one point when the sun was setting, it goes behind that and everybody's happy. and it goes down and it starts to dip under into that little crack. And the sun slowly starts to go down. It was so cool to watch it like set through.
It was like a
that.
Stonehenge in that little gap.
Yeah, it was so much fun.
I thought you were going to say, I think it was between Wolfgang and Architects. There was a time where like the sun was just basically shining on one side of the stadium. And so Metallica has 6 pillars. Is it 6 pillars or 7? 6 pillars, I think.
8 or something.
Oh, is there 8?
I don't know how many there are.
Anyways, they have pillars, and that's where like the screens are, and that's where the balls fall during the last song and everything like that. But there was on the one side of the stadium where the sun was shining, nobody was in the seats except for where the shadow was of those pillars. So it was, I think you have like a video or a picture of it or something.
We are trying to put a vlog together for this as well. That will be up way down the line. We have so many others we need to do. I'm slow at editing those. Sorry. Those get the most views of our shit. So
we need to work on that.
We'll work on that. But yeah, we'll throw that in. That was kind of cool too, because they just sit in the shadows basically, right?
Yeah. It was like, and we kind of did, not, we weren't in the stands, but we kind of did the same thing where we stayed like kind of back on the sides and stuff, like in the shade. Cause I'm just like, I'm not standing in the sun for 8 hours or whatever it was. Like we basically were in the shade like the whole time. So, but anyways,
back to the bands.
Yeah.
Anything else for Wolfgang or Architects that you want to
No, I just thought it was a much better performance by Wolfgang from Detroit. And that's the only time we've seen him is Detroit and Madrid at this point. And Architects was fucking amazing. I knew their it comes up on playlists and stuff, so I knew their music. I honestly thought you were going to be like, fuck this, like I'm not listening to this. I
liked it. I had such a good time with it. It was such a good set.
The people around us were good too.
They were, yeah.
That kind of helps. Yeah.
This was also the night I think somebody was there on the pillars that you were talking about, that they have the giant circle screens on as well. They have seats for people who bought that type of seat. Like you get like a Yeti cooler full of shit, and you might get to keep the Yeti cooler. I don't remember. But there was a guy up there with a Taylor Swift shirt on.
Oh, right.
And our niece is such a great fucking like Taylor Swift fan. So we took a photo of him with his friend who had a Metallica shirt on with them, and sent that to her. And she was super happy to see that.
There's a lot of people in Spain with your selfie on it.
Yeah,
I don't know
what. For some
what
reason they kept wanting to get selfies with me.
I don't know what the fuck was up with that. Anyways,
the other 2 bands, Five Finger Death Punch and Ice Nine Kills, the second night.
They were just a normal show.
Normal shows, we've seen them a lot already, or we've seen them a few times before, and they put on the same show they always do. And it was a good fun time all around.
I've realized we've only seen Ice Nine with Metallica.
We have, yes.
So,
we have.
But anyways, I mean, it was a normal show. The sound was great, I think, for both bands, where, again, Detroit was not as good, in my opinion. Wasn't as hot that night, because that was night 2.
It did cool down a little bit.
It was like 80 some degrees instead of 97.
High 80s.
Yeah. But it felt so, that whole day, then the next Monday, it was still in the 80s, but it felt so nice. So
other things about the venue, they have people walking around with beers. Here in the States, you'll see people walk around with like the things on their head, the ice buckets and beer here.
Or like over their shoulders or whatever.
Yeah, it was like the thing in front of you, and they hand you a can of beer and a cup or something. Here they had people walking around. I had to buy beer just because of this reason. It's fucking awesome. With mini kegs on their back as backpacks, and you buy a beer and they just pull out the little nozzle and here's your beer.
Yep.
But not only was it a beer, it was like a $8 beer.
Yes, for the small one, €7 for the small one, $12.50 for the big, or 12 something for the big one.
And when we say big, we're not talking like tall boy. We're talking a bucket. A fucking like.
We have a picture of Brian. You're gonna have a lot of editing in this, because we'll put a picture of Brian, and he's like, I mean, you could just tell by his hands how big it is. It's huge.
It's got to be a liter of beer.
Yeah,
I think.
In my opinion, it's like a small popcorn at like the movie theater it's by us, like
small in America.
So like not like a small popcorn is like a bucket. I mean, it's crazy.
So fucking big. And $12.50. Now this isn't like great IPAs or anything.
Oh no, you could buy a can of it for like 80 cents or something.
80 exactly. This is lager. This is your Budweiser, your Bud Light, your Coors, whatever. But $12.50 for a fucking bucket.
Yeah.
Here you buy a 12-ounce can for $27.
Well, $14, but anyways.
Basically 27 fucking. God, it's
prices
ridiculous. Were so fucking insanely cheap over there.
So as soon as we got, this has nothing to do with Metallica, but as soon as we got back, we went to like an Curiosity and Oddities convention near us, and we bought a beer and a water, and I think it was like $21.
Yeah.
And I immediately was like, I missed the $2 waters and
a beer, a 12-ounce can of beer.
Yeah. I immediately was like, why the fuck are we back here? Why are we in Spain?
Oh my God, the prices were so fucking cheap. And they had food as well. And their food were these mini baguettes with jamon ham or prosciutto and olive oil. Holy shit.
So good.
They were so good.
And they had Spanish omelet ones, which I think is like eggs and ham and onions and stuff like in a sandwich.
Not your shitty pretzel that's been sitting there for 5 hours rotating and like you just stick it in the microwave with.
It was like €9 too. It was like, it was so good and so cheap. And if you wanted a bag of chips, like they sold like full size bag of chips for €3. I don't know.
Full fucking bag. What are you doing with a full fucking bag of chips?
It was crazy.
You're buying this and you're having like 3 and then handing it off and passing it. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. What else did they have? Like popcorn?
I don't know.
I don't remember.
I remember
it was so
the
good.
Baguettes that were so they came in clutch at the end of the second night. I was definitely feeling a bit out of it and needed some food to soak up the gallons and gallons of beer that I had consumed for next to no price at all. So like this to soak it up, and it was so tasty. Oh, I miss it so much.
Let's go back to Spain. Let's go back. Anyways, the venue really made the experience very well. Is also
it's
like
a massive fucking venue.
Yeah, and like just everybody there. I mean, we don't speak Spanish, so we didn't communicate with very many people, but everybody was so nice and helpful and like
so amazing. Everybody and like the staff spoke very good English.
Yeah.
And like if you like, I would try to do my broken Spanish as best I could.
Excuse me.
Excuse me, that's not Spanish. Pardon.
It's Brian's Spanish. How many days did you say excuse me?
I don't know. I don't know.
Anyways. No. Everybody was so nice, and like just from the whole experience of getting like going through the whole experience was just amazing.
Yeah, and you brought this up earlier, the crowd, right? Hiding in the shadows of the heat and whatnot. It was how you would expect, how I've experienced crowds in the U.S. for shows as well, where for the opening band, hey, bud, our cat's over here hanging out. It was a typical show that you would see here in the States, right, where people show up for the first band, but not everyone, and it starts to fill up for the second band, and then it's full for your headliner.
Yeah.
And I was curious to see how that would work, and it's the same apparently everywhere, at least in Madrid. Assuming in the rest of Europe. But it's the same where the people have they have what they want, and yeah.
There's Andy. Yes, I noticed that too. Like people weren't really there for the first two bands either night, but by the time Metallica's there, it's like full. Like the seats are full, everything's full.
And this stadium is fucking massive.
It is huge.
So many.
I wonder how many people. Like 70,000 maybe.
So the capacity is 68,000 for this particular stadium, but I think that's for
just the seats
or the soccer matches or the football matches. So then you got to tack on another 20 to 30.
20 or 30, yeah, probably for the
floor.
Yeah.
The floor wasn't completely full.
No.
It's the normal where it's packed between
the pillars.
the GA, not the snake pit, between the stage and the pillars to the back of the pillars, and then behind the pillars there's just people hanging out that you could walk around the entire thing.
Yeah.
Well,
I feel like there was more people in that, like in all that area, like the back area in Madrid than there was like either in Chicago or Detroit.
I think so too. Yeah. There were just more people there in general.
Yeah.
But getting to the crowds, like, holy fuck, these crowds are awesome. So loud, so into the music.
Yeah.
Like, I've always wanted to go to Europe and experience this. I've seen video of like Hellfest or Wacken.
Oh yeah.
And just like, holy shit, this looks like a proper fucking metal festival. What the hell? And it was. These fans are so fucking good. They're so into the music. They're so loud when they're singing. It's
like on night one, it started kind of with Architects, like around us. Anyways, I don't even know what side of the stage we were on, but we were kind of between the like the stage and the pillars and stuff. And the people around us were starting to like go with the breakdowns and stuff. Like the pits weren't opening up, but it was like, like they were really getting into it and stuff. but then during Metallica, like pits actually started opening up and like,
oh, it's such a great pit
yeah.
too. It was so good. I don't.
People kept trying to talk to us, and I just had to be like,
yeah,
I don't know.
it's the same. I mean, honestly, it happens here in the States too. When I go to shows and people talk to me, I can't always hear what they're saying.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like just smiling, like,
Yeah.
yeah, you're right,
Like a guy kept,
yeah, fuck yeah.
like a guy kept offering me beer because he like was standing in front of me, and I'm like, I'm good. Like, I mean, I don't know how to say like in Spanish, like I don't drink or I don't like or whatever, but I was just like, no, I'm good. And then I like kind of heard what he said. Like he was saying something like, I mean, it was in Spanish, but he was saying something about like being in front of me, and I'm just like, it's good, it's good. But yeah, like most of the time I couldn't hear them or just couldn't understand them. So
yeah, the crowd was just so fucking awesome. The other thing with the crowd along crowd lines, as I mentioned earlier, the Euro Championship was the second night of the
second
show.
night, July 14th. Yeah.
And in the crowd, like they kicked off during, I think, Metallica during
it started
their
like
Metallica set.
Oh, I thought it started at 8 p.m. and Metallica went on at 9.
I don't know.
Is that wrong?
It's 45-minute halves. I don't know how long halftime is. It's probably an extended halftime for a halftime presentation. So
maybe it started at 9 as well.
probably started right before Metallica.
Yeah, possibly.
In any case, there were people with their phones out watching the match.
Yeah. Which we've been to other concerts where people are watching special games.
We have Breaking Benjamin with Iowa going into the championships of the NCAA Women's Championship, right? Yeah, no, it's awesome. Like, they're sitting there enjoying the music, but they're not going to miss this at all.
Yeah.
And then Spain scores, I think. Spain scores first. I can't remember.
They did. Spain scored first. I don't remember exactly when that happened, but
then you hear, like, the crowd just start cheering, like, a loud cheer. And it's like, what the fuck is going on? Oh, they must have scored or something. And honestly, I was really, really hoping that Spain would win during a quiet part, right?
Oh.
In the middle, like nothing else matters or something. But we knew nothing else mattered wasn't going to happen because that was night one. No repeat shows. So, all right, maybe it's going to happen during one or something. I don't know. I just want it to be a quiet, Unforgiven. I want it to be a quiet song that you're not supposed to cheer at this moment. And then all of a sudden, just the crowd erupts and cheers. But soon after they scored, I think England scored.
They
or
did,
something.
yeah. It was pretty quick, yeah. So it was 1-1 for a long, long time.
I think it ended up being 2-1. Spain won.
Yep.
I can't remember, honestly.
I think it was 2-1.
Yeah. But Spain ended up winning. But there's a couple in front of us, in front of us watching it on their phone. It froze, and you pulled your phone out to show them like they're winning.
They scored, yeah. Like I wasn't watching the game, but I had the score up.
Right, because again there was another eruption of cheers, and then he's like quickly trying to refresh.
Yeah, and then again in Spanish, but he's like basically like my fucking phone, like it won't work. Like he kept hitting it, like. It was funny.
Yeah, no, it was great, and then they did end up winning. I think. During one.
It was during one, yeah.
During a quieter part of the song, too.
Because I remember being like, oh, they won during one.
So it was kind of cool that they got that moment of them cheering and celebrating. And you see people dancing around with the Spanish flag.
Yeah.
So it was a great fucking experience to be there. And like we had no clue that's what was going to happen.
I had no clue that the Euro Cup was even happening or like Spain was in it or anything until... I think Architects. Or no, somebody told us.
The night before, actually, the first Metallica, we went to the Blackbird. We're going to talk about this in a little bit. But I wanted to go out and watch the semifinals. I think it was Spanish and French
Yes,
playing.
yep.
And we wanted to go find a bar because I wanted to be in a bar and I wanted to be in the crowd. But of course, every bar is fucking packed.
Well, and all the bars are teeny.
Oh, yeah.
Like maybe just like a few tables and stuff. I mean, it's not here. Like you could go to a bar and it's... I mean, Chicago's smaller too, but there's some massive bars.
It's like finding a smaller bar here in Chicago.
Yeah.
Like Original Kuma's. If you go to Original Kuma's, they're like that.
Yeah, very small.
So
even probably smaller than that.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. Like people, like as we were walking around trying to find somewhere to watch it, people are like sitting in windows of bars watching it and just like hanging out in like all these like, they're not alleys, they're roads, but like, you know, in
the winding roads are very tiny.
Yeah.
People are just gathered around the door peeking in. They'd have benches out on the seating area. They'd be just sitting there watching at the TV in front of them and everything. It was
awesome.
A great experience all around. But getting to be at the Metallica show when that happened, and I was really hoping Metallica would like same thing with Breaking Benjamin. You're in a city, a major team in that city wins here in the country. do something special. So I was really hoping they'd like play the national anthem or something for that country. I thought that would be fucking sweet if they did that. At the end of the show, they end up saying "Vamos España" or something like that as like a celebration, and put up the score on all the jumbotron.
Oh, I didn't even notice that either. No, I didn't notice that. That's awesome.
Put the final score up there in celebration, which was really, really cool.
Do you have a picture of that?
I do, yeah.
Oh, okay,
So
that's
maybe
awesome.
We'll throw that one up as well.
Man, I can't believe I missed that. I guess I was just looking around at all the people more than I was looking more at the stands than like at the stage area.
But that kind of leads into merch, including the shirts we were wearing as well.
Oh, you can't see our shirts because of
the computer.
We'll
throw probably pictures of all this as well. Or not, I don't know. We might do a 666 on merch.
Oh, we should, yeah, because we got quite a bit of merch in
so
Spain.
We'll talk briefly about the merch and the merch experience here, but we'll do a 666 where we talk about all the merch we got and throw pictures of it all up there.
Yeah.
Let's jump into the merch. So the first merch experience we had was the pop-up shop.
It was.
We got up early one day for the first day it opened.
Was it early?
Early for us. It was early for us.
Well, for that trip, it was early for us. Yes.
Yeah.
Because I think we had to be open at 10.
It opened at 10. We got up probably 9 o'clock and took a taxi. The hotel dude got us a taxi. There's taxis all over the fucking place.
Oh, yeah. It was so nice.
Awesome.
It was so nice. And they were cheap.
If you have a green little light on your thing, just stick your hand out, taxi, and they'll come. And yeah, it was fucking awesome. The guy didn't speak much English, I don't think. So you had to pull up the phone and the Instagram with the address and show him. He's like, oh, I know how to get there.
Yeah.
So I don't know what time we left. It was a quick little drive. We got there it opened 10, you said?
Yeah, we didn't get there till like 9:45ish.
No, we were there for about an hour, I felt like.
No, we weren't.
We weren't?
No,
you sure?
no. We were only there for like 15 minutes.
I felt like it was longer.
No, it wasn't.
All right, well,
not in Spain. We weren't there very long because our whole thing was like, okay, if we're too far back, we will go tomorrow. We'll get up earlier tomorrow. We were not there that long.
Okay, you say that. I'm going to say in my head, I can't remember. Honestly, I can't remember, but I felt like we were there for at least 40 minutes.
No.
In any case, doesn't matter. We got there. This dude walks in front of us and has a poster tube, and I start counting the line from him, and we were probably mid-50s in line, and then there's a group behind us as well, and it got longer and longer as we went on. Opened, we went in, they were only letting 50 people in at a time. They stopped right in front of this dude in front of us, who we ended up becoming good friends with and talking a lot throughout this entire time. Oh shit, before we go this far, we're going to rewind just a quick second. Leaving the venue. We didn't talk about leaving the venue and how when we left the venue after each show, around this venue were a bunch of people just selling food and candy and shit, like vendors, like we have here in Chicago. They post up on the sidewalk with coolers. This was like a full-blown operation. They had tables, they had
vans of shit and like tents, like a what am I trying to say? Summer's market tent thing that you like set up.
Go to the flea market or something. They have that like little pop-up tent they have. Selling a bunch of candy and treats, and then they even had the beer vendors still open at this venue attached to the side of it, selling things, and people just hanging out for hours on the grounds, just laying on the sidewalk or laying in the grass around the grounds, people grabbing tables, just hanging out and having a good time at night. It was such a cool atmosphere to have versus venues here where it's like,
get the fuck out.
Get the fuck out. Go home, motherfuckers.
I mean, we had to leave the actual venue, like the stadium area, but yeah, like that outside like concourse thing, like people are just hanging out like crazy.
I mean, they opened it up and they were selling shit to people. It's right next to the train station as well.
Yep.
That we
like the train station lets off at the steps of the stadium.
Basically, it was a madhouse getting back.
But it was fine. But
more of that will be in the vlog again. That will come out in 5 years from now.
Hopefully within a couple months.
Yeah, we'll see.
But but the culture in Spain is so different. Where like people aren't going out till like dinner and stuff like that until like 10 p.m.
They are a nighttime
later.
culture for sure, which is super awesome. That's more my speed, more my thing.
Yeah, well, I think when we were there, like we kind of stayed on like a U.S. type schedule where we were staying out till midnight or 1 o'clock, which would be 7 o'clock here. But I mean, we weren't going back at 9 o'clock to go to bed, sort of thing. So
But I just wanted to bring that up because I remember that because we ran into this dude again a few times.
Yeah, we did.
Well, just wandering the concourse, and he just bumped into him like, "Oh shit, hey, what's going on?"
Yeah.
But he was in front of us. They let all of us in line. We were just talking, hanging out with him. He was there working as well. He has a remote job, so he's just pulling up his not Instagram, Slack all the time and checking it and whatnot. But we go in, we get our poster. Posters were simple to fucking get in Europe. Like they had a bunch. I was super nervous about that because that was the main thing I wanted to get.
Well, and that's why I remember being like, okay, if we're too far back today, we'll get up earlier tomorrow because it was hard to get up and get going that day.
Yeah.
So, and like we said, like we probably got up about 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock. Yeah.
Whenever we got up.
Whenever we got up. But it was hard.
And line we're talking, we become good friends with him there, just chatting him up and whatnot. We go in, we both get our posters. He gets his, we get ours. Then we're standing next to this rack that has your shirt on it.
Oh yeah, the Soy Familia.
We'll throw a picture of this one up. Yours and mine probably. And on the rack, it has a little sign on it that says custom James or James specific shirt or something.
I think James designed it.
James designed shirt, right. And this guy we're talking to is like, I have the I Disappear pass for all the Europe shows, and this is the only Europe show that had this shirt on it. And at first I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. James designed this shirt. I'm not going to buy it. But once he said that, it's like, all right, fine.
They're getting more money from us.
Yeah. So we got that. We got the show, or the pop-up shirt, the pop-up poster.
A patch.
They had a Madrid patch. It was so fucking cool.
And we didn't see a patch in Detroit or Chicago, so I don't know if it's just select cities or if it was just in Europe.
I don't know. And that was
maybe somebody will comment if if they went to like the Europe shows.
And that was the last show in Europe too. So it's the last show of every leg. I don't know. We got the vinyl as well.
Oh yeah,
that was going, I think, quicker than the posters were going. To be fair. Yeah. I have this. We'll talk about all the merch we got, but we grabbed a few other shirts and whatnot. But it was just really cool to like the poster experience. Getting it at the pop-up shop was so simple. Like I was so fucking worried about it.
Yeah, I mean. So the whole experience of getting posters was different because so I had done Detroit at that time. You had not. And Detroit was you're in line for hours. I mean, I think in Detroit I got there at like 7 a.m. or something. They opened at 10. And so basically you went in the door. You had to go like around all the merch and go get your poster. And then you were allowed to shop. And
you had to like pay for it and everything.
Yeah, you had to pay for it. All the limited items. So your vinyl poster at that time, it was Yetis were were limited, and I feel like maybe like the balls and shit that you could buy. I don't know. There was some limited, or maybe the skateboards or something are limited. Yeah. Anyways, they had certain things behind the checkout area that you had to go get, and then you could shop. So I was expecting that here as well. And so I kind of was like, okay, like as soon as we get in, go get your poster and then we can shop around. Mm-hmm. And it was a little bit different where it was kind of like, you did go get your poster from the
It was behind
stand,
the counter. You had to go grab that.
But people weren't like rushing to go get your poster. People weren't rushing to check out, like anything like that. It was just kind of like you grabbed the poster, but then we were just kind of like wandering around the store.
Yeah, we were sitting there chatting up this dude for like a good 20 minutes.
I would say at least 20 minutes.
And there were still posters afterward. And there's a steady stream of people coming in. And just like people who wanted posters were getting them, but the people who didn't want them weren't. Like you didn't have the flippers going in there and trying to flip the thing. Right. This was legit people who want them would, grab them. Yeah. Which was fucking awesome. I was so nervous standing in line being like, we're not going to get one this first day. We're going to have to come back tomorrow, which means I have to get up even earlier tomorrow. Yeah. Fuck this shit. What the fuck? No.
And the next day would have been, I guess it would have been Thursday. Because they opened on Wednesday in Spain.
Yeah, I think
and Thursday when they're in the U.S. Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, it was basically like, and even the guy that we met was like, oh, you guys both can get them. And I'm like, no, like we're not. I mean, we've said that many times on the podcast where we're not the people who get extra posters, extra one-off items just because there's two of us sort of thing. Like we just don't do that.
One time we did for the Metallica 40th night too, and the sole intent was either to trade or sell to finance
the other one,
the night one. Yeah.
But we're not the people that are like, oh, because there's two of us, we can each buy one, and then we're gonna sell one for a shit ton of money.
The other thing I just want to say quickly about the pop-up shop is it was large, much larger than the Detroit one.
Yes.
Well, a little bit larger. Detroit was pretty large.
I would say
honestly.
Detroit was large. I would say it was probably half a size bigger. Like if you took Detroit and then add a half a size to it.
I'd say 25%.
Okay.
So a little. We're nitpicking. We're cutting hairs.
You
here.
always do that. Whatever I say is wrong, and it's whatever size you think. I think it was about a half a size bigger.
Okay. Fine. It was about a half a size smaller. Or Chicago was about a half a size small. Chicago was tiny.
Chicago was teeny.
Yeah.
We didn't go to all the other cities, obviously.
Yeah.
But Chicago was very, very small.
Yeah. But this whole pop-up experience was great.
It was fun.
Some awesome people in line and just hanging out and chatting with people that we ran into several times at the show here, as well as we ran into one dude here in Chicago. We'll talk more about that here in a bit. And probably more in the Chicago show as well. But yeah, the pop-up shop was fun. It was a good experience. I was super nervous about getting the poster. I do feel like the pop-up poster for Madrid was the best one of them all. Because what they're doing this year versus the last year they did. So last year they did one pop-up poster for every city, but changed the color scheme. And they did that for Europe as well as the U.S. But here, or not U.S., I said the same thing. North America. This year, for year 2 of this sort of M72 leg, they're doing a unique poster per pop-up as well.
Yes.
Which is really cool.
Yeah. So I guess we could put up a picture of it, but the Spain one, the shows that we went to was like the Death Reaper.
It's called the Grim Reaper.
Grim Reaper. I always say Death Reaper.
Do you?
No, I think I say Grim Reaper.
Yeah, it's Grim Reaper. That's what I always thought you said. But Death Reaper is kind of cool. I like that.
Anyways, the Grim Reaper, like with red and black, like it looks really cool.
Yeah. Anything else for the pop-up shop for you?
No, I enjoyed it. I even feel like that they had some more merch because they did have some extra area. Like you got a brain surgeon shirt.
I did. I got that mainly because
of Randy's book.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like we had. So, I mean, there's like some other merch there and stuff. We didn't go crazy on it because, one, we had to pack it all, but also Metallica's got enough of our money.
We didn't go crazy, but at the same time, we kind of went a little
crazy. We did. We bought more. So
this is where we talked about it, and we both basically were like, they know how to suck fucking money out of us. Like,
I mean, look, we bought this shirt just because it was like a special shirt.
Right. This is a one-off shirt you can get nowhere else. And
yeah. Anyways.
The day of night 1 for the show, we wanted to get the show poster as well.
Yes.
And again, going to shows to see Metallica here in the States, getting posters.
You have to be there at like 8 a.m.
It's a bit of a fucking nightmare, honestly, to get these fucking posters, which really sucks. I love the posters. I get them because I like to collect them. We like to frame them. We have a Metallica wall with all the posters we have framed. We have a bunch more that still need framed.
Yeah.
It's going to be a long time before we frame another Metallica because we have other shows we've gone to for other bands that we want to get framed also, right?
We don't want a Metallica house.
Right. So we like collecting posters. We like framing them, hanging on the wall. They're like our art, basically, right?
Yeah, we don't. I was going to say we don't spend money on art, but we spend a lot of money on posters and concerts.
Yeah. But getting them in the States is fucking horrendous. Like they sell out so quick.
Yeah, because kind of like the pop-up shop, like in Detroit, like I was there at 7 a.m. and I was like 40 something in line. And if they only have 50 a day, because I think he said in Detroit they had 50 to 75 a day. Like they weren't quite sure like the exact number. And I was like 40 something in line. I was so nervous that day. And
it's so nerve-wracking.
Even in Detroit or here in the States, like we were in line to get merch before the show even starts. Like people line up outside with the merch that's outside the gates.
So for Madrid, we were thinking the same thing. We were going to have to do the same thing. Yep. So we get up, and the day before, a couple days before, we took the train out there just to know how to get to the stadium.
Right.
So we did that whole routine again, getting on the train, heading back out, and we get there, and there's fans all over the place. Not a lot of fans, but a decent number of fans just all over. They're doing their own thing. There was like the enhanced experience line that people were hanging out there. There are people just hanging out on the ground. So the way this venue is, we didn't talk much about that, but you have the stadium, and then you have this outer concourse, which is up these steps. You have to go up these steps to get to that outer concourse.
Like inside of a gate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a gate blocking those steps, and then there's a concourse area around that gate with restaurants, shops for the football club, seating area, and a grass area that you can sit on and just sort of relax in the grass.
Yep. And then you have the steps to the train.
And then the steps to the train, right?
Yep. And it's like in a neighborhood. It's like in a neighborhood.
There's
too.
a neighborhood off a bit, yeah.
I mean, like if you cross the road, it's a neighborhood,
One way, and then like the highway and the airport the other way.
Yeah, but they're like, it seems like they're building that up too.
It
like
does,
maybe a hotel or something's getting built there.
Eventually that whole area will probably be built up. But there's fans all over the place. So you have the people in the line. You have the people at the tables. You have people going into the restaurants. People sitting on the grassy areas under trees they have. Olive trees or something, I don't know, but cool little trees that they were sitting under. And they had security by all these gates going up to that outer concourse. And we're like, shit, we probably can't get up there. But we also don't want to talk to anyone, so whatever. So we...
Yeah. I was always nervous to talk to people, no matter where we were, because I'm like, I don't know if they know English. I don't want to sound stupid. Like that whole thing. So, and I don't know how to say, like, I want to buy a poster, so how do I get upstairs?
And when we were there earlier in the week, we were able to walk around the outer concourse and saw all these not bins, what are they called?
Restaurants? Or
containers, like
containers.
like truck containers that have been converted into restaurants.
Well, like food truck type things.
Yeah. But made out of
containers.
Yeah, containers. Yeah. And then we saw all the merch stands as well that were set up, and like, all right, well, this is where the merch is going to be. Is this Metallica merch? Is this Five Finger merch? Ice Nine merch? What merch?
Because they were kind of small.
They were very small, and they were nondescript as well.
Yeah.
I think it just merch.
Yeah, like official merch or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, but like in the States, like, I mean, it's like a trailer that they have for merch.
Exactly.
So I mean, it's huge, and these were just like the small stands that you see at like with one table.
Yeah.
So like what you would see at like a small bar show or something.
So we weren't sure what was going to go on, but we got the lay of the land, sort of understood what the venue was based on that sort of wandering around that day before or whatnot. And so we get there, nobody's doing anything. Like, all right, we're not going to ask.
Yeah, because we probably got there, like 11 something or 12 something?
Something like that.
Yeah.
And whatever, fine. We're going to sit here. We're going to wait until we see other people do stuff, and then we'll follow behind.
Because we didn't really want to. So at the time, I was kind of disappointed because I thought that there would be merch like down in that area, like the bottom concourse area where you don't have to go through the gates. So we were kind of disappointed. We're like, well, we're not going to ride that train an hour back downtown. So like you got a beer, we got water, and we were just gonna sit there, and then we were gonna go find lunch.
Right, and so to kill time, exactly, I was gonna kill time, and I got that massive fucking beer again, super cheap, massive liter of beer, gallon of beer, or whatever. We're sitting there just relaxing. I'm taking notes in my journal about like what we did the day before. You read it, like, yep, you did that, blah blah blah, and all that fun stuff. Then we see two guys walk by with 2 poster tubes each, and then they stop. I see one stop, open it, look in it. Talk to the other one, put it down. They end up opening all 4, and they keep pointing up to this one that they don't have. What the fuck's going on here? And then you go over and talk to them.
Well, yeah, because I was like, they have posters. Like, how did they get posters? And we saw people in line for the
enhanced experience.
Enhanced experience, not advanced experience. So I was like, kind of like, oh, maybe they were with them, and like you get a poster with that or something. So I went and just. Stupid me. I was like, do you speak English? And the guy's like, yeah, because he was from London. And I was just like, I said to him, I was like, good. How do you get the posters? And he explained that you can just show that you have a ticket and they'll let you through the gate, and then you can go up and like it's on the concourse. Like you can't get in the stadium, but that upper concourse you can go, and they had one of the merch. Only one of the merch was open at that time, but they had one of them open, and so you could go there. So I came running back to you.
So I grabbed my beer that I just gotten, had a couple of drinks out of, and we walk over, show our badge to the guy, and he let you bring the water in, but you had to throw the cap away.
Yeah, I had to get the.
In Europe, if you don't know, they have the caps that you twist, and they stay attached to the bottle, and then you can. He like ripped it off and threw the cap away. Then he turns to me and he's like, you can't bring the beer in. Take one more big old gulp of my gallon of beer, still have a good chunk of it left, and like, that's fine, and just threw it away. I was like, I want a poster. I don't give a shit about this beer.
We want these posters really, really bad. Turns out.
We get up there, we get in line. It's a decent long...
we were 7th in line.
7th in line, yeah. It was going slow because they would hand the shirt to somebody and like they would try the shirt on in
Yeah.
line to
Or
make
like
sure it fit.
hold it up and like look at it's almost like you're at a clothing store where you're like examining like, do I really want this? Does it look good on me? Like all that shit.
Well, one lady got or was thinking about buying like a jacket, like a $500 jacket or something.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Make sure that fucking thing fits you and fits you properly before dropping $500
Yeah.
on this thing.
I don't think it was 500, but it was a lot.
It's a fucking ton. Yeah, it's a lot of money for this jacket.
Anyways. But yeah, so it was a slower experience than what we're used to.
There were people behind us, probably from England as well, because I heard them speaking pretty good English. Maybe it was Ireland. I don't know where they're from, but they
Probably
spoke
England.
pretty good at English. And they were talking about flippers and scalpers of the posters. And they were like, because you could get 2 posters here as well. And it was like,
Yeah.
why do they do that? Just limit it to 1. Let everybody get 1 poster. Stop this fucking shit. And I think they were nervous about getting posters
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Get up there, a stack of posters.
Yeah, like the whole box.
We get our poster, and she starts to roll it and stick it in a tube. I'm like, no, we don't need a tube. We don't need a tube. We have the one we brought with us from home to take home.
And mainly we just didn't want more and more tubes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a waste. So
Yeah, exactly. We have our tube already, so we're fine. But we ended up getting one, and it was super simple to get one. And they had booths all over the stadium. We only went to that one. And there was one other one on the way out that we passed that had just opened, but also had a stack of posters. But yeah, it was super simple. Not a huge line to get these posters.
No. I don't know if people didn't know that they were open yet, or like if it's
we
just
were
not a
unsure.
big thing. It was a Friday, but I mean, we did the same thing on Sunday.
Same thing on Sunday. It was even easier on Sunday,
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah, because we knew what to do.
We knew what to do, and the line was even shorter.
Yeah.
Honestly. But yeah, super simple. Got our shirt, got our poster, went back to the hotel, dropped it off, changed because it was hot as fuck and sweaty, and then went straight back out to the stadium. Did the same thing on this night 2 Sunday. Got there early, grabbed our shit, went back.
That took like 10 minutes maybe. Well, I mean, an hour to get out there, and then 10 minutes, and then like an hour to get back.
What to do. Just go straight up, show me your thing, and boom, you can get it. And then got a taxi back to the stadium. Cool, good to go. Maybe got food. I can't remember. Anyway, whatever. Just the getting merch before the show. Again, you can do the same thing here in the States. Normally, there's a long as fuck line. When I did it here in Chicago, I got up at like 8 in the morning.
Probably earlier than that. Probably like 7. You were probably over there at 8. So
I was over there at 9:30 both days. Because I remember walking
I thought it was
and seeing
earlier
it like
than that.
9:11. Like, oh, that's a funny number to remember. Anywho, but yeah, the line was already long here in Chicago, and the line got longer and longer and longer as the day went on, and didn't even open till like 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Here it's open at like 11 or some shit.
Yeah, it was early.
Super, super simple to get the poster, and like not as stressful, but I was stressed every single day of getting it. I don't know why, because I think it's more of that people are going to take all these and scalp them, and I'm going to have to buy them on eBay type shit.
Yeah, I think that's what we were, because for the Spain show, I mean, we've already said this was a very, very special trip for us. So we wanted all the pop-up stuff. We wanted all the show-specific stuff. And so I think that was the biggest thing is like, if we miss one, then the collection's not there.
You have to get the whole collection. You have to get it all.
Yeah. But I mean, just because it's a special show. Now, like in Detroit, we did the same thing, except for we didn't get one of the shirts, which we should have. But it was kind of like, it's one of those things where it's like, since this was such a special trip, we wanted all of them. So.
Exactly.
But
a token to remember.
Yeah. But on night 2, or day 2, I guess, night 2, but like when we went during the day, they had stands with both posters.
Oh, right. Yeah. They still had night 1 posters.
Yes. And when we left, I think you were getting to this, but when we left the stand after the show, there were still stacks of posters.
So the line and sort of the chaos to get merch after the show was sort of no line.
It's no
sort of a
line.
big push up. Whoever get there first. Sort of thing.
Because these tents are like 3 sides open, people were just gathered like in a semicircle around that, and it's just kind of like, it's not a single file line.
Not a very good queue at all.
No, for a Europe queue.
Yeah. For any queue.
Well, yeah, but I feel like in Europe you hear that word of like the queue word.
For sure. But yeah, agreed. Like it was just mass chaos. But even when we left night 2, night 1 we left and they still had posters. I'm like, what the fuck is this? They still have posters. And I forgot about that. We showed up day 2 before it even started, and they had the posters next to each other to see what they look like.
In the U.S., you would never see that.
Never.
No, I don't know about other parts in North America, but in the U.S., definitely you would not see that.
And I think the print run was less. I think it was like 6 something.
Yeah.
For like 670 something for the show posters. I could be wrong.
We'll have to look at ours.
We'll take a look and see what we have. I thought it was like 600 or 700. Here in the States, it's like 900 or so.
And it's still like,
and you still
they're gone
have
in 30
some
minutes.
over.
Yeah.
Holy fuck. And night 2, after night 2, they still had them on sale.
Yeah.
They may have sold out eventually. We didn't stick around to see.
Yeah, I know that they still had posters night 2. I don't know if they still had both posters.
But that was another shock, just walking by at the end of the night and seeing like, you still have this fucking shit? How is that possible?
Yeah, because we looked at two stands. The stand that we went to and then another stand. So we didn't go on the other side of the stadium, but I'm sure it was the same on the other side.
I bet for sure.
Or we didn't check any of the stands inside the stadium either.
Yeah. The other surprise was definitely that mad rush, and we had heard about that from another couple that we met later or earlier on in our trip.
That like Amsterdam was that way or something.
Yeah, that's just like a mad rush, so like be prepared for that. And that was another thing. Like, fuck, this is not going to be fun to try to get a poster.
I think that's why I was so nervous the first day. Was like, shit, I don't want to do. I could do a crowd on a floor at a concert. I don't like crowds like
outside of concerts.
So that whole, like I was kind of nervous about that, like just being in this mad push of people.
Yeah. So I don't know if like posters in Europe are just like not something people are into, or if it's
Spain specific.
They don't have the flippers. People just don't flip. They buy for themselves, and it's more of like I don't need this, so I don't need to make money on it type thing.
Yeah.
Right? It could just be a different cultural thing. Here in America, it's more, make as much
and
as
also,
you can type thing.
I don't know if it's everywhere in Europe or if it's just this is our experience in Spain.
Yeah, exactly. So. We have one experience.
Yeah, exactly.
We did talk to our friend from the pop-up shop about the posters because he was there to get the pop-up poster, and again he had the I Disappear pass, and we asked him like, "Oh, are you getting the show posters too?" He's like, "No, that's a lot of money. I'm just getting the pop-up posters, and I've got all of them so far, so I need this one to complete the collection."
Yeah.
Same thing we were saying, like you need all of them to complete the thing, right?
Yeah. And maybe in Europe it is that way. It's like I can either buy a shirt or I can buy a poster, and we're the only crazy ones who are like, we want it all.
Yep. So I don't know. It was just a weird, different experience, merch all around.
Yeah, but a good experience.
Yes, a good experience, but different. Yeah.
I liked it better than either of our U.S. experiences.
Oh, for sure. Me too. The last sort of merch experience is the shirt I have on now. Throw a poster up there. It's very similar to yours. But it's red. It says España on it.
And it says Somos, what's it say?
Champions or something.
Yes, Somos Campeones, which is like we are the champions.
Yeah, so we got back from Madrid, and it wasn't long after we got back. I got an email, and I was super worried about it being suspicious and like a phishing email because of like work telling me that everybody's going to do that. And they do.
They do. We've fallen into that a couple times.
But it was because we went to the Madrid show, because I scanned my ticket that they give you like the free, you could win a snake pit, you could win a signed vinyl thing, that little card they give you at the pop-up shop and sometimes at the show. I had to create an account, put my email in there, but because they had all that information, they're like, you went to the show in celebration of Spain winning the Euro Cup. We've created this shirt for sale. And I was like, all right. I need to have that fucking shirt. Like that's one of the highlights for me from a music going experience is being at a live show in a country that's so dedicated to the music and the sports, and being in the stadium that they play that sport in, and then them winning a major national championship and just seeing all the joy and happiness in people for both reasons. It was like, all right, I need to have this to remember that
memorialize.
Sure. What? No, not memorialize, but yeah, immortalize. I don't know what the right word
memorialize.
is. Memorialize is what you do when somebody dies. You make a memorial out of them.
Oh,
I believe.
Okay.
Any hoodles. Yeah, I had to have this shirt, and I got that, and like this is the last merch item we have had or gotten from our Madrid trip.
Yeah. So basically, next year when we only go see $20 bar shows, it's because Metallica got all our fucking money.
It's definitely one of the reasons, amongst other, but yes.
Yes.
But yeah, so that's about it for Metallica,
show?
music, and show. But we were in Spain more than that. We went there for a trip to Spain as well.
Before we talk about the other music, I have another Metallica thing that was fun.
Yeah, go ahead. What's the other Metallica?
So we were just wandering around, and we happened to find the theater the venue where the tribute show was.
Oh, right, yeah.
And we were outside of it, and like at that time they were doing like a signing of a book. Do you know what book it was?
It's the black and white book. I think it's the Black Album in like black and white photos.
Okay.
So it's with the photographer, and then Kurt and Robert sometimes show up in like.
I'm sure they were there probably. Yeah. Okay, so that was happening inside the theater, but we were outside, and we didn't go to that. Like we don't have the book, and we didn't do all that. But there was a couple around, and they were asking if anybody spoke English. So of course I was like, I speak English. I can help you. And then I'm like, fuck, what are they going to ask? But they were looking for the vinyl, and so they thought it was there. I don't know how they, like what was going on or whatever. So basically we were able to help somebody in Spain to be able to, I don't know if they went to the pop-up shop or not, but they were there because, and it wasn't necessarily for Metallica, but they were there from Romania.
I think Romania.
Yeah. To see Five Finger Death Punch because they had just like seen them or like heard about them. I think Five Finger did the same thing that they were doing in North America.
They had a European show or tour going on outside of other dates,
yes,
right? Yeah,
outside of Metallica. So they saw them like a week before or 2 weeks before or something.
Either in Romania or around Romania.
Oh yeah. And
but
so
then seen them recently.
Yes, and then they were like, "Fuck, that was so awesome! Like we had to come to like Spain to see the show or whatever." And it was just their excitement and everything to see them and like just to be there and everything was so awesome. And hopefully they found their album that they wanted.
I hope so, yeah.
Because they wanted like the Spain specific album.
Yep.
So hopefully they found it or whatever. But it is confusing when they do the city takeover because there are so many spots that you have to go to. But so that was probably the last show or Metallica specific thing.
Yeah, and that was in between night 1 and night 2 because we asked them like, "Do you go to night 1?" They're like, "No,
they were only coming for night 2.
We're here to see night 2 because of Five Finger."
Yeah.
Which is fucking awesome. And yeah, like you said, their excitement was just so fucking cool. I forgot all about them. Honestly.
Yeah. I didn't think about it until like as we were talking through things.
Oh, that's so cool. I forgot all about that. Yeah.
This is the hard thing. I mean, it's been over a month since we've been home, but Brian did journal like the whole thing, so it was kind of easier to go back and like remember things.
Yeah.
So.
But you did bring up the other music that we went to. And the first one was that, or the first thing I want to talk about was that tribute show at that same venue.
Yes.
Which we'll probably end up doing a 666 or a whole episode on that. We'll see what it ends up being, or an encore. I don't know.
We're kind of changing the 666s, but
yeah.
Anyways.
But the band is Sad from Italy.
Yes.
Somewhere in Italy. They're a Metallica tribute band again. They also had a DJ set before it started.
Right, from the local radio station?
A local radio station. It was really cool to see. They had like a little film thing going on, which is just...
Oh, yeah, that was fun.
A slideshow of past Madrid Metallica experiences, news clippings, posters from old festivals.
Not just Madrid, but just of them playing in Spain in different places and stuff, and different festivals and stuff like that. But I noticed that... when we were in Chicago, they did the same thing with like old tickets from like the 90s.
Where'd they do that?
They were like at the show in Chicago, like during the Long Way to the Top.
Oh yeah, they always do that.
Oh, do they? Okay, I never realized it until then. So
that and
but it was Chicago specific here in Chicago, so it was like a special. It was a specific.
Okay, cool.
So maybe that's where they got this whole slideshow thing from. Is like from that idea. Yeah. But I mean, I think it was probably different stuff.
It could have been, yeah.
But it was really cool. It was all in Spanish, but it was really cool to see like all the articles and stuff. And there was one with Slipknot in it, or like,
oh right,
yeah. So like there was like, but that was only up there for like 2 seconds, and we were like, we need to catch a picture of that or whatever. But
it was fun. It was more Metallica in between the two nights. We've talked about this, especially with the takeovers. And they do it here in the States with Odo and Bastard Dane, sorry. Where it's other music than Metallica music, but I do wish they would highlight a different type of not different type of music, but different artists playing non-Metallica tribute.
Yeah.
Because
but the tributes, so this one, I think that they did all the Europe tributes. It sounded like.
Yeah, it sounded like just like last year in North America, it was Damaged Inc. did all the tributes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this one seemed like they did all the Europe for at least for this leg of the tour. That's what it seemed like. It seemed like, anyways. And then, but like here in Chicago, we didn't go to the tribute show, but it was like local Chicago people playing. So like three bands from Chicago.
Yeah, and even the DJ set was all Metallica, outside of one song. I can't remember what it was. I want to say it was a Pantera song. I can't remember.
Possibly.
At this time, honestly. Like you said, it's been a month or so. So
yeah.
I feel like it was a Pantera, but there was one. No, it was Ace of Spades. Motorhead.
Ace of Spades, yeah, Motorhead. Yeah, yep. As soon as you said Ace of Spades, I remembered. Yeah.
Yep, it took a bit, but outside of that, it was Metallica, and like they'd stop, and then the crowd would sing, and again, the crowd here so fucking good and into it, singing and getting so into it. The crowds in Spain, I want to say all of Europe, but we have one. Yeah. Well, we have two now. We have
Evil,
and you have a few. You have
Signs of the Swarm. Or Cattle Decapitation. Yeah.
But my experience in Europe, the crowds have been insane, so fucking good.
Yeah.
I want to go to South America so bad.
I know. I want to go to South America too. It's like
I think it's going to be
even crazier.
I think so. I think it's going to be so fun.
I mean, that's like 100,000 people.
I know.
At one show.
It looks so
Could you imagine
awesome.
seeing Slipknot in South America?
Holy shit, that would be fuck.
Anyways,
it's on our list someday, maybe
10,000 years down the road.
We'll get there. It was fun. I did have fun here. The venue was cool. We'll do a longer, in-depth thing of this at some point way down the road from here.
Yeah.
But it was fun. I did like this a bit. The other thing, we briefly touched on this the night of the semifinals of the Euro Cup with Spain and France. We couldn't find a bar to get into, but we did find this bar called Blackbird, which I later found out, it later clicked on me, like that's a Beatles song. But that night they had a Beatles tribute band. Yeah. And we paid like a $10 cover. It was super cheap to get.
Yeah, 10 euros or something, yeah.
And they gave us physical tickets.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Like a handwritten physical ticket printed out on whatever paper. I've never had that when you go into a cover. You just pay the cover and you go in. This was like you pay a cover and here's a little ticket for you to go see the show. But it was a Beatles tribute band. The drummer, the big thing for me is the drummer was wearing a Dead & Company shirt. Not only a Dead & Company shirt, but the same shirt I own. And after they had two sets, after their first set, they kind of walk out. He's walking out to go smoke or something. And I kind of like tap him like, hey, awesome shirt. I saw that tour too. Where'd you see them? Oh, really? That's awesome. Dead & Company's awesome. Yeah, man, I saw them in Chicago last year. I was like, get the fuck out of here. What night? All nights. It's like, are you shitting me? I was at that show.
It's a small world, that is for sure.
And then he's like, oh, they're so fucking awesome. I'm going to go see them in the Sphere. I had just gotten back from the Sphere and seeing them. And I was like, holy shit. Like, you're going to have a blast. It's so fucking good. You're going to love it. It's going to be great. Like, small fucking world, right?
Yeah.
Like, I saw the same show with this dude in Chicago a year ago. Never once ran into him. Maybe saw him, maybe didn't.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? Like, you had no clue who he was, so.
A year later, in some random-ass bar in Spain, and here he is. And it's like, motherfuck, what's up?
Yeah. Yeah. I like those small world things. Like, we've had it at a couple other shows where it's like, I worked in this building. Now I work in that building. Like, it's crazy.
They had other tribute bands. They had like a 90s tribute band.
Yeah, we were going to go to another one that we didn't. I couldn't remember what it was. But
I kept wanting to go back. The couple nights that we definitely could make work, they were closed.
Yeah.
There were a few nights where we could possibly make it work, but other things came up.
It was cheap too. Like, I mean, you have the cover for the band, but like the drinks were cheap. I guess all the drinks in Europe are cheap, but
yeah,
it was a nice night.
Super cool staff, super cool venue. Like, they had posters of the Beatles all over the place. They had, not really all over the place, they had like one poster.
Yeah. But they had pictures of everybody.
Other vinyl.
Like, did they have Vinny on the wall?
I think
was that the place that had Vinny? Am I making that up?
They definitely had Lemmy on the wall.
Was Lemmy there? I can't remember.
On the wall. I don't know if Vinny was.
Okay.
No, Lemmy definitely, yeah.
Okay. I'm probably getting him mixed up with something else.
Anyway, such a great place. I wanted to go back so many times, but we just couldn't make it work. The other musical thing we did was an actual musical. The Book of Mormon was there.
Yes.
With a run. And we were walking back after something. I can't remember what it was.
Well, I had seen a couple announcements for it, like either like on a bus or like on a like how they have like announcements like by trash cans and stuff.
Whatnot.
Yeah, so like I had seen it. I just was like, I didn't know if it was here or like when it was like going on or whatever. So
yeah, and then we were walking back one day and we just see this like marquee that says Book of Mormon, and we're like, hold on, which is like 3 blocks from our hotel.
Yeah, it was really close. Yeah.
And this may have been one of the nights we were either going to go to a different bar for music or back to Blackbird. I can't remember what one it was.
Yeah, I can't remember either.
But we saw that and we walked up and like, oh, let's go just check it out. So we walk up to the box office, have somebody in there, and we just asked him like, the Book of Mormon's here, right? Like right now? He's like, yes. Are they playing tonight? Yes. I'm like, could we get tickets? Yes. Where would you like tickets? And it's like, we'll take the cheapest ones we can get. We don't fucking care. We just want to come here. He's like, okay. And it was maybe 90 euros total.
Yeah, 90 total probably.
Which is awesome.
Or 80 or something, yeah.
Something like that, which is awesome because that's what we would pay for nosebleeds if we're lucky here in Chicago.
For one ticket.
For one ticket.
Yeah.
Yes. So we're like, fuck it, let's do it. Go back to our hotel, change, and we're talking the whole time like...
Okay, this is a musical.
Yes.
We change into a different band shirt.
Metal shirt, yes.
Yes.
We did not bring nice clothes to go here.
No, because our whole thing was just like, oh, we're only going to see bands, so we're not going to... Like, I even had people ask, like, oh, are you going to take, like, dresses or anything? I'm like, no, I'm taking shorts and a T-shirt. Like,
it's going to be hot as shit, so I'm not dressing up for anything.
Yeah, so... Yeah, anyways, so...
Forgot about that.
I was a little like, we're going to be walking in with shirts. Like
Metallica shirts. You're going to see the Book of Mormon.
I know.
Cares.
I need to stop caring about what other people are wearing.
Yeah, but we had the conversation of like, is it going to be in English? Is it going to be Spanish?
I said Spanish.
You didn't. I was like, I'm 60-40 English. Like, Metallica comes to Spain and they sing their music in English. They're not changing their vocals or their lyrics to Spanish vocals or lyrics, right? Like, no, it's going to be in English. But if it is in Spanish, I'd love to hear, Hola, mi amo Elder Price. Like, I would love to hear that, like that one line right there.
Yeah.
Turns out you're right. It was Spanish, but I didn't get the Hola.
No.
Me amo Elder
Take
Price.
Cal. Me amo Elder Price.
I've never heard Take Cal.
Yeah.
I know me amo.
So I only know Take Cal from like Spanish class in high school. And like Take Cal is like Hola is like very formal and Take Cal is like, what's up? Like sort of thing. So that's how I learned it. I could be totally wrong, but that's how I learned it.
If you're going around and you should join my religion, you want a free book written by Jesus? Like it should be formal. Hola.
Yeah.
Not Take Cal. Hey buddy, what's up? Do you want a free book by Jesus? It shouldn't be
that's how I learned Take Cal was more like if you're going with a group of friends to like a bar, you're like Take Cal, like instead of Hola, like.
Yeah.
I could be totally wrong, but that's how I learned it. And so, yeah, so like to hear Take Cal was like very...
It does make it funnier. Like,
yes.
Hey, you want a book by Jesus?
But yeah, so it was all in Spanish.
We don't speak any...
You could
5 words of Spanish.
You could tell by this conversation we don't speak Spanish.
We had the nosebleeds, right? Or we were supposed to. And we get through the door and the guy like goes through his spiel. Like he has to do it for every single person.
Yeah.
And it's just...
And it's so fast. All I got was like that there's like somebody else is inside.
And
like
I'm
to
just
help
sitting
you.
there smiling. And we walk in like, did you understand any of that? And you knew I didn't, but I was like...
Yeah. Well, so he says, he's like, gosh, what's the word? Like,
he's like, do you have any questions or something?
Yeah, like, or like understand or whatever. And I'm like, so I just said, gosh, what's the word? Like, I can't remember, but like, I was just like basically like, yes, I understand.
I was like, yeah, sure, I understand. And I walk in and you're like, what are we doing? And I was like, we're just going to fucking follow people and figure it out.
Like, I don't really fucking know what he just said.
Our tickets say 300. This is 100. So we walk up the stairs to a woman who's standing there. We're like, excuse me, do you speak English? And she's like, yes.
A little.
Oh, a little. And it's like, here's our ticket. Where do we sit?
And then she just said like downstairs, like back downstairs. But like, I don't think she could articulate why.
She did not say why, but she's like, go downstairs. There'll be somebody that'll seat you.
Yes.
And we're like, cool, perfect.
Okay.
I just need somebody to take me to a seat.
Yeah.
Apparently, they did not sell many tickets, so instead of having it look empty on the floor, they took everybody who was up top and moved them down to the floor.
Yes. So
this is awesome. We got cheap floor tickets.
Yes, exactly. So like but we had no fucking clue what was going on, and I think there was. So we were going to talk about people that we met, but there's a couple from Atlanta there, and I don't know if I asked her. I think I said like, "Do you speak English?" And she said yes. And I was like, so they told us to sit here, but we have this ticket. And she's like, oh, I think they're sitting everybody down here.
She's like, they did the same thing for me.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, at least I know. Because I was I'm always an anxious person. I was kind of nervous, like we were going to be sitting in somebody's seat or, like something like that. So
yeah, and I'm not. I'm like, whatever. If we're in somebody's seat, we'll get up and move 2 seats to the left or to the right and whatnot and go from there. If somebody's there, then we'll move till there's 2 more seats open.
Yeah. But during the intermission so Book of Mormon's always like 2 parts or whatever. Or a 3rd part if you're a Jew. But
no, it's
the Bible is 2 parts or a 3rd part if you're a Jew.
No, it's only 1 part.
If you're a Jew?
Because
the Book of Mormon's the 3rd part.
The Book of Mormon is the 3rd part.
Anyways.
Judaism is the Old Testament. Christianity is the 2nd Testament with the Revelations. Book of Mormon is the 3rd. Or only 1 part.
If you're a Jew.
If you're a Jew. Not 2 parts. Only 1 part if you're a Jew.
Anyways. Okay, my whole joke was out the door. But anyways, there's an intermission between the 2 parts. And so during it, I think she asked, like, do you speak Spanish or do you speak any Spanish?
So she's there with her husband, and they're both like, do you speak any Spanish? And we're like, nope.
Nope. Not at all.
And they're like, so you don't understand anything that's going on. And we're like, no, we've seen this like 6 times.
Yeah.
So we have the album, we have the CD, we've listened to it over and over. We know the story. And we can sing these songs in English like pretty good, especially once the music starts going. So
we're like, no, we understand what's going on, and we just thought this was like a fun night to come out or whatever. So,
and I didn't understand the lyrics as they were singing them, but it was good. It was so much fun to like just sit there and enjoy the show. I think it did help knowing the music. If we didn't know the musical or the music or the story, it might not have been as fun for us. Right. But it was such a blast to sit there and just. Again, looking at the other people, there were a couple in front of us, and this woman was cracking up, laughing, and just like, what the fuck did they just say? And just like having like laughing and smiling and having such a great time. And like, again, just that power of music and like, it's kind of cheesy, but like just seeing them have fun was, to me, that was so much more fun than anything else. Yeah.
Oh, and I mean, I caught a few of the lyrics or whatever, like the translations of the words that I know and stuff. And so that was even funny sometimes because it wasn't always kind of like the K-Tao thing. Like it wasn't always translated how I would think it would be or whatever. So yeah, it was fun.
It was just on a whim too. So it was fun.
Yeah. Like probably, I think we had like 2 hour or 1 hour or something to go. Go there. So.
And this was the night. Or one of the nights, again, as we were going to go to the Blackbird and see another tribute band, or go to a recommendation hotel staff gave us.
Yes, they gave us a couple of recommendations for bars that had music.
Yeah, so one night we stopped in the hotel and just asked them, like, hey, where can we see live music? And this was one of the first nights, like Monday or Tuesday night. Yeah. And they told us, like, well, they don't open on Monday or Tuesday. They're open Wednesday through Sunday or something like that.
And they were like, well, what kind of music?
Yeah.
And we're like, metal.
Yeah.
Like,
so they gave us a few recommendations. One was like, here's basically a Kuma's, right? Like it's a metal themed bar or a punk themed bar. And then there was another one that sounded super awesome. I think it's Thundercats.
Yes, Thundercat. Yeah.
That we didn't make it to, and I so desperately wanted. And I think it was Wednesday. I think it was
Wednesday night. So I was like, I basically said, like, if we do Book of Mormon, we can't go because it was the only night that we could go there.
Because like the next night was Metallica or something. We wanted to be rested up because again, we wanted to get up early to get the poster. Where if we'd known, we could have gone on late and like say, fuck it, we get the poster on fucking day goddamn 2.
Anyways.
No, this is kind of disappointing now that I look back on it. Like we could have fucking done that. Anyway, whatever.
Okay. It's okay. It's okay, Brian. Old man. You can calm down.
Thundercat apparently was that particular night was sort of, they lean into it, was the karaoke with instruments, so to speak, where they basically just have a bunch of fucking instruments. And if you want to get up and play a song, you just grab an instrument and start playing. And it's sort of like anybody in the crowd can jump up on stage and start playing. It sounded so fucking fun.
And I think it was like a rock night, or like they do it to like rock songs though.
Yeah.
He was explaining anyways. So it's not like just any old jam. It's like to play certain rock songs.
Yeah, I don't know. Exactly. Karaoke, you pick what rock song you want to listen to, and then they either have a backing track and you just play the instrument or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Could you imagine if we like picked up an instrument like...
No, we're not doing that.
We don't know how to play anything.
But I was like, that would have been so fucking cool and so much fun to do.
We did want to do that, and we tried to make it work, and it just didn't.
It didn't play out because all the recommendations they gave, like we couldn't make it work. It wasn't close to us either. It had to be like a taxi ride somewhere.
Or a train, yeah.
Or a train.
Yeah.
So whatever. It didn't work out. Those would be definitely places that we would have done. So I mean, if you're going to Madrid and interested, just apparently ask your hotel staff, and they're more than happy to like give you recommendations.
Yeah.
Which was super fucking cool for them to do. Really disappointed it didn't work out for us. But yeah, that's sort of the other types of live music we did.
Yeah.
All right, so it's been a bit of a longer episode. Sorry about that, but we have just a few more things we want to briefly touch on. And the first of which is other activities that we did in Madrid while we were there. Because again, we were there for the music, but we also made a big trip out of this, right?
Yeah, so we went for 10 days?
Thereabout, yeah.
Or 9 days, 10 days. So yeah, we gave ourselves like 4 days for vacation and then the weekend for the Metallica stuff.
Right, because we wanted to show up early to acclimate to the time change, acclimate to the area, figure things out, and then go to the concert and enjoy that, and then have a day to recover, and then go home afterwards, right? So we kind of planned our trip around that, the big event, of course, being the show, but then having a few days to fill in, and just wanted to talk about some of those few things we did.
Yep.
And we talked about it a little bit already, but the venue tour, or the venue, we went up to the venue to just figure out how to get there.
You mentioned that like on the Tuesday of our trip, we went to the venue.
Yeah, and they had like a restaurant, so we went in there and ate, and it was like a fancy as fuck restaurant.
Holy shit, yeah, and we looked like this. Again. But yeah, we had tablecloths and everything.
It was good. It was a fun meal.
Yeah, it was a really good meal. I was kind of surprised. That was probably one of our better meals.
Yeah, I think so. And then, but afterwards we got out, we walked around the outer concourse, that little area we were talking about where they had tables and restaurants and whatnot and stores. And one of the stores had sort of a museum attached to it. And they're like, you can go to the museum, or you can go to the museum and do a tour of the venue. And we're like, fuck, let's go take a tour of the venue.
Yeah.
Because we're like, can you go on the field? And like, yeah, you can go on the field. Typically, you can do a lot more. But because of the concert this weekend, you can just go down there and take a look. And we're like, yeah, let's do that. Let's go. Like, it's fine. We want to be there to see this because they're going to be setting up, right?
Yeah.
We want to see what it looks like. So we do the tour.
Oh, we didn't know that they were setting up yet, though, did we?
No, I think we did.
Oh, okay. No, I think she said like,
yes.
Like you can only do this one experience. They had 2 tours of the field or of the venue or the stadium. We keep saying venue, but it's of the stadium. And she was like, you can only do this one because stuff is not available because they're setting up for the concert.
Yes.
And I think that's why I'm like, they're setting up for the concert?
Right, yeah. So we did that. We go through the tour. You go to like the press area where they take like
that was kind of cool.
Post-match presses. That was kind of cool.
Yeah.
It's like a high school auditorium where they have little things that slide up like little tables.
Oh yeah, like the little desks. Yeah, like
for the news reporters, the journalists. That's what they're called. They had like a little VR thing you could do. You can go to the locker room and get your photo taken in front of your favorite player's bench. And they're like, "Who's your favorite player?" And like, I don't fucking know.
Well, that was the first question they asked because like it's one of the things to buy the photo. You know, like any of those touristy things where like they take your photo and they're like, "Who's your favorite player?" And we're like, we don't know anybody. So I just said the coach, and you said, I think she said like you're the most popular player or something is this person. You're like, okay, let's just go with that. Yeah.
But yeah, been like, who's the least popular?
I know you were doing that while I was talking, but like, yeah. So you just had to like hold your hand out, and then they Photoshop the person in there. So.
But then you got to go and walk down like this main concourse area where the players come out of pre-match with the kids. They always have kids for some reason. I don't get that. Like they don't have cancer. So I don't know. Whatever.
I don't know. Let's not put that out in the universe.
But anyway, you go out in this area and you just stand there. You can't go on the pitch.
Yeah.
Because they've got the floor set up and they're building the towers.
Yeah. We have video and pictures of it, so we can put that in. More editing for you.
Maybe. We'll see if I put that in.
Yeah.
It will be in the vlog.
Yeah.
But it was really cool to see the floor and see them building everything and just the sheer number of people they have working on this thing.
Yeah. And cranes and like a whole bunch of shit. Yeah.
It was just really fun. We sat there forever. And we went upstairs to like one of the luxury boxes and sat there forever as well.
Yeah.
Watching.
But like down when we're in the entrance thing, like where the team comes out onto the field, when we were standing there.
It's called a pitch.
Oh, I'm sorry. The pitch.
There you go.
I don't really fucking care. It's sports balls. But there was a like a young kid soccer team there, like on
football club.
Anyways,
you
like
need to
on
watch Ted Lasso by now.
On a field trip. And like, so they were taking pictures and stuff because it was awesome for them because they're on like this field trip thing.
Yeah, it was weird because like we wanted to see Metallica's stage. We said, I want to see behind the scenes. I want to see more of like how this shit works behind the scenes, like how the sausage is made, so to speak, of the music industry. And you have these kids, you have so many other people who are there,
like actual tourists,
deep fans of this soccer club or football club, and it's like they can't enjoy the stadium where their favorite club is. They play their sport, right? And I'm like, I don't give a shit. I want to.
Yeah.
So it's a little disappointing for them, but yeah.
Yeah, what I was saying is like we stood down there for a long time, and they're all trying to take pictures and stuff, like all that, like all this stuff. And finally, I'm like, we should probably move on.
Yeah.
Like, so that's when we went up to like the box seats or whatever, and like stood up there for a really fucking long time.
And continued to watch what was going on.
Yeah.
And then left and just walked around the concourse, finding where all the food was.
That's when we did all that stuff. Yeah.
So. That was really fun. It was a lot of fun.
It was spontaneous too. Like we weren't planning on doing it. So to be able to see, because like they were just here at Soldier as well, but like you can't get into Soldier while they're doing it. Like
I would love to go do a Wrigley tour during a Metallica or any band setting up. Like that would be so fucking black. I would honestly. I just want to sit in the stands and watch the thing be built.
Like the whole thing, yeah.
Like you see time lapse every now and then, like Rammstein did it, I think, of like showing how Rammstein's like, how it's built. I would gladly sit there for like 8 hours and just watch this over and over and over.
Right. And price wise, I mean, like if you're ever in Madrid, like to do Wrigley's, you said it's like $150.
I think it's like $200.
$200 per
expensive.
person. I think we paid $28 per person.
Really?
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was.
And that included the museum and the tour.
Europe is so fucking cheap compared to the States.
I know.
Challenge is the flight there.
The
flight was fucking insane, but once you're there, the food, like everything was fucking
and our hotel
cheap.
would have been super expensive too. But I mean, I'm sure there's hostels everywhere though.
There were,
Yeah. So, but I mean,
fuck. I love Europe.
I know. I want to go back.
Fucking awesome.
We'll put it on our list for a couple years from now, but
my God,
it's hard.
I fucking love it. But yeah, the venue tour was awesome. It was so good, and like you said, spontaneous. The next thing I did, you did not partake.
Nope, not at all.
Was an actual bullfight. I know bullfighting's very a big part of Spanish culture, and I wanted to experience Spanish culture, and I wanted to experience this. I'm not going to say much about this because it was by far the worst thing I have ever done in my life. It's not good. It's an experience I did. I'm never doing it again. Moving on.
But the bullfighting arena is really cool. Like we walked around it outside, and I haven't seen inside yet, but I'm sure you have video and stuff of the inside. It's really, really cool.
The venue is super fucking awesome. I will not lie. The venue is super awesome. We have our friend Jerry who told you AC/DC played there.
Yeah, it's called like No Bull Madrid or something like that.
Venue is Plaza de Toro.
Yep.
Or Toros, I can't remember.
Plaza de Toros Ventas is how.
Oh, it's Ventas?
Las Ventas, yeah.
Oh, whatever.
But I've always known
called Plaza de Toros.
Yeah.
Anywho, I do want to watch that concert now.
AC/DC played. Did we finish that conversation?
I don't know if we said ACD.
Yeah,
Jerry,
AC/DC.
our friend, said AC/DC played there. He saw the concert.
Yeah.
So I need to track that down now and watch that. We did the Palace tour and the museum tour as well. That was a blast. Definitely worth checking out.
So it's called Royal Galleries or something like that. So, but it's basically shit that the royals have owned from like the 1500s or 1400s or something through, I think 1500s.
Yeah, it wasn't
through
as old
current
as I
day.
thought.
Yeah, well, because before that it was like Muslim.
I don't know what the time frame is. Yeah,
I think it was before the
Was it?
1500s. Yeah.
I thought it was much younger. I thought whatever.
Oh,
I'm
anyways,
not a
we don't know
student
the.
of history.
I mean, yeah, we don't know the history of it, but
When you're there, buy your tickets ahead of time or online. There's a super quick line you can jump through. Make sure you read the signs right because we bought tickets to the museum twice.
we
'cause
did on accident.
bought the wrong fucking ticket. The other thing, like right next to that, was the cathedral as well. Check that out. And I think this is what I was thinking of when we went to the mausoleum. I expected to see old as fuck people there, but it was only like 1800s.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I wanted to see like a 1200, 1300 person, but
Yeah.
no,
You mean the crypts thing?
Yeah,
Is
the
that called a
crypts.
mausoleum?
both. I think.
Oh, okay.
But in the crypts,
Yeah. The cathedral's really cool. I mean, we're not religious, but the cathedral is really, really cool. How it's designed, and like they have shrines everywhere,
Yeah.
and like you can Venmo God to get a candle or something. I don't know. But it was really cool, and it's a cool building and everything. I mean, like that looks really cool. And then the crypts is connected to it. It's a separate entrance, but that was kind of cool. They're just like buried in like the floor, and like people have whole like little sections for their family and
certain
stuff.
people do, certain like very notable figures would, another thing we went to but didn't go in because there's like a whole park around it, and the tickets were sold out or something for the day we went, was the Egyptian temple, which apparently this was a temple given to Spain by Egypt as like a thank you or something.
Yeah, something. Somebody told us about it.
The person who told us about it was the hotel dude.
Oh, okay.
Because the very first day we were there, he gave us a
Oh,
map.
right. He was so nice and like showed us, like circled all the places.
Circled everything in the map. He's like, you need to go here. You need to check this out. If you want this, it's over here.
Don't
do
eat
this.
here, eat here.
Yes.
Because he told us basically like, don't go here because it's touristy. Like you need to eat in this other area.
Yeah. It's going to be overpriced. Like if you want tapas, go over here. It's going to be cheaper and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Which also getting into that tapas, we went to a bunch of bars. We just stopped, get a few drinks.
Yeah. I mean, it was hot. So it was like,
Yeah.
you would walk for an hour or so, and then it's like, okay, let's find somewhere to sit down.
One place we went was like actually out by Plaza de Toros when we went to go find
Oh,
that.
right.
Because again, when we go to venues, we like to, before going to it, if we have the time, go a day before, learn how to get there.
Yeah.
That way, the day of, we're not like stressed and
Well,
worried.
and you had to buy your ticket.
And I bought a ticket there as well.
You could have probably bought a ticket. Sorry, our cat is like very needy. It's almost his dinner time.
But yeah, you could have bought a ticket on. But anyway, we like to go and explore the area, right?
Yeah.
And while we were there, we walked to a bar. This was the semifinals as well of the Euro Cup.
Oh yeah.
Because then
they were setting up a TV outside. I forgot about that.
Outside, yeah. But even there, we went and got a drink. They gave us tapas, but the tapas was potato chips, Lay's potato chips.
Yeah.
A few places we went, we got like gummies, like gummy bears.
Oh, that nut mix though at like Imperfecto or whatever.
El Perfecto, yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I liked that nut mix. I mean, basically it was like corn nuts and like pretzels and peanuts.
That was a lot of what we did. Sort of like wander from bar to bar, get a drink, get some tapas.
Yeah.
Go walk for 30 minutes, find a new place.
We only had one place that gave us like tomato bread or something as tapas. Everywhere else was like potato chips or nuts.
Or
that sort of thing. I know like from watching like Anthony Bourdain and stuff, there's tapas bars that give you like seafood and like
and
sausage.
The region he
and
went
stuff.
to was more rural, I want to say. It wasn't the main metropolitan area of Madrid or Barcelona.
At first, since we were getting potato chips, I'm like, are we getting potato chips because we're tourists?
Mm-hmm.
But then when we saw
other people get them.
Well, I was going to say Grandma Watchdog, the lady that owned the street, like
that was kind of cool. There was one bar we went to up by the palace, and it was super fucking hot. That may have been the day we went to the temple.
It was so hot that day.
The Egyptian temple.
Yeah.
And we're like, whatever. We walked like 3 blocks.
we're like, here's a shaded seat.
Yes, basically that's what it was. And we sit down and we're just hanging out, and there's this old woman sitting next to us, and this guy who sat down with her for a bit, and then he disappeared. But the wind blew her cigarettes off on the ground next to us. And she was struggling to pick them up. So I like bend down, pick them up, and give her lighter and everything. And she says something to me in Spanish. But then, as you're like, everybody would walk by and stop and talk to her for like a minute or two and move on and like talk to her for a minute or two. And she got done and she like said goodbye to us in Spanish and shit. And and then walked like 2 doors down, and her apartment must have been right above
Yeah,
this place.
yeah.
It was so fucking cool to see
Yeah.
like the neighborhood woman just like hanging out,
Yeah.
and like having a few smokes, having a few pints. Like that's how I want to be when I'm old. Just like
But she had potato chips. That was my whole thing. It's like
Yes,
she
yes.
had potato chips. So I'm like, okay, it's not just
yeah.
we're a tourist, so we're just giving you potato chips kind of person.
But then like all vacations, that's what we did, right? It's just
Oh,
sort of
yeah.
wander around.
Yeah.
and try
I mean,
to find
that's-
something cool.
Yeah, that's what we do in every city is we just kind of wander around and see what's going on. It's not, we don't necessarily have plans. The only plan we had was the concert. So
Yeah, and as you're saying, the only plan was the concert, and like that was the reason we were there. We said that a million times already, and it was a very, very awesome concert. I'm not gonna lie, it's up there on the top of my best concerts for sure, but it was overshadowed to me, honestly, by just meeting random ass fuckers, like people,
not fucker.
but just like meeting amazing motherfucking people. Like, the pop-up shop dude from Germany, we've talked about him a lot. Like we met him in the pop-up shop. We saw him a few times outside of
the show.
And the last night we were just walking and I was like, I hope we run into him to say goodbye. And I just heard his voice and I was like, holy shit, yell him out. And he's like, oh, hey, how's it going, guys? We say goodbye to him. Like, I just want to say thank you.
Yeah.
And he turned to me, he's like, for what? And I was like, just for being an awesome person? Like, you've been super nice to us and not like you've just been awesome to us and friendly with us. And he's like, oh, you don't need to thank me for that. But also, thank you for being the same back to me. Like, he was so fucking cool.
Yeah. We kind of said, I think during like our pick, we have a 666 about picks, but like we traded picks with him because he was looking for a specific pick from Kurt. He ended up getting one night, but I messaged him and I was like, hey, so we happen to get one. Like, do you want it? Like, it has your name on it, sort of thing. Like, if we ever meet up, like, it's yours. And
he gave us like a Kirk pick, which
Rob.
It gave us a Rob pick that I've like cherished and wanted for so long, ever since seeing their like set list photos.
Yeah.
And like, thank you for this. I'll always remember you. I have one, but I'll keep it because like it reminds me of you guys. So here's a token to remember me. And like, yeah, I'm definitely not gonna get rid of that or forget you. Like, you're so fucking awesome.
Yeah, and that night that we traded picks, there was a guy also from Germany who's in the Saint German.
There are a bunch of people from Germany who had Saint German shirts on.
Yeah, is it Saint German?
German or Germany? I think it's Saint German.
Okay.
But it's like the dark
it's
green. Their club, yeah.
Yeah, their fan club. Kind of like Metallica is the Chicago one. But at that night, like he said, he was like, oh, I'm going to be in Chicago. And I'm like, well, we'll be in Chicago. So.
And we ended up meeting up with him a couple times.
We did,
in Chicago. I forgot all about him.
We saw him as well. So it's like, it becomes like, I mean, it's a big world, but it becomes a small world when you like meet these people and everything. So.
Also at the pop-up shop, we were standing in line and this dude asked us, like, he saw we had a poster. He's like, oh, you guys got a poster? And like, yeah, we got a poster. He's like, do they have any left? So I left the line to go look to see if they have any left. I'm like, sorry, man, they don't. But they're really not going that fast. I could tell he was American, just the way he was talking, right? And I was like, they're really not going that fast. Show up tomorrow. You can even show up like we were given times, like show up at this time. Like you can show up whenever the fuck you want, honestly. Just not super late, just early-ish.
Yeah, because I think, like we said earlier in the episode, like I think we were only there like 15 or 20 minutes early, so.
It's not like the States where you have to be there for an hour or two, right?
Or 4.
Right. And he's like, oh, don't worry about it. And like shows us his badges.
Yeah.
He's a crew member. And it's like, I'll have no problem getting one. Don't worry about me. And I was like, oh shit, fuck, all right. And we just talked to him for a bit and we're like, turns out he's from the States and he's been with Metallica for a few years now and like super cool dude. But run into him at the show as well. We talked about it a bit during the
pick episode.
The pick episode as well, where he gave us a couple picks and like we had a couple of them already, so we started handing them out to kids as we were going around. Super fucking cool dude as well.
Yeah. And again, we saw him in Chicago as well.
Yeah.
I mean,
and he remembered us. So it was like, oh yeah, hey, how's it going, man? And just like chatting up about travel and everything. Like, oh, so fucking cool. Next couple we met, we were at dinner. I went to the restroom.
Yeah, I can't remember what night this is.
I can't either.
It's after Book of Mormon because we went to like that little plaza thing to get dinner.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
Maybe
it was
that's what it was. We were going to go to get dinner and then maybe go over to one of the bars.
Yeah.
But we ended up meeting up with this couple. So I went to the bathroom. We were at a table, just the two of us. I go to the bathroom. I come out and somehow our table's been combined with another couple.
Yeah. So I heard them talking and like they were talking like, oh, they're going to the show too. And the late, so man and woman of the group, but the lady of the group is like, how do you know that? Like, you can't be sure or whatever. And I was wearing Frozen Soul shirt. I don't remember what shirt you were wearing that night, but he's like, oh, from the t-shirts, like, you know, and I'm hearing this whole conversation, but at this point I haven't turned around yet because I didn't want to like interrupt them or whatever. But then like, I don't even know like how the whole conversation went, but something about like, oh, I bet they're going, or like, I wonder if they're going to both shows and like all this stuff. And I turn around and I'm like, the Metallica show? Like, so, and then we're talking for a little bit. I think you come back to the bathroom and it was kind of awkward because then you're back, but I'm turned around talking to them. So then I'm like,
that's what it was, right?
Then I'm like, hey, do you mind? Like, we could move our tables together and it'll be easier for us to eat or whatever.
So we're not shouting.
So we're
not really shouting.
Yeah, we weren't, but like, so I mean, it's a little bit more comfortable. So, I mean, that was probably about 9 or 10 o'clock and we sat and talked to them until after midnight.
It was at least 3 hours
like,
we talked to them. They were tearing the restaurant down around us. Like they would come to our table, they had a candle on it, they've ripped that off of our table, and it's like subtle hints like,
get the fuck out.
let's fucking move here. Come on, let's move. But we just kept sitting there talking and chatting it up.
Yeah.
The Boston couple, I'm gonna call them, like they were super fucking cool. Just talking about old shows we've been to, what bands we've seen, what we got coming up in life.
Yeah,
so much fun.
Some venues in Boston to go to, and yeah, it was fun.
Such a great time, just and we already talked about like the Atlanta couple, just meeting them and like
at the Book of Mormon, yeah.
At the Book of Mormon, like, do you guys understand this? Nope. But we understand it, but we don't speak it. Like,
yeah,
they were super fucking cool as well. After getting the posters on night 2, we came back, dropped them off at the hotel.
Yeah, got dinner.
Then got dinner. I forgot about that. We went down to a restaurant near us, got dinner, because they had a really good burger you liked. They had really good beer I liked.
Yeah, all the food was really good.
It was,
like,
yeah.
We never got anything that was like, oh, this is not good.
And then went back up to the hotel. We were going to grab a taxi by the hotel, and there's like a father and son just sitting there waiting to get a taxi. And you could tell they're going to the show. They have Metallica shirts on. And like, do you guys just want to share a ride? Because I had full intentions of paying for it myself.
Oh, me too. Yeah. I was like, we'll just pay for it and like they can just like, ride with us.
Exactly. Because it's like, we're going to the show. You're going to the show.
Yeah. It's always one of those things like, if we're going to the same place, we don't need 2 cars to go there.
Why have 2 fucking cars going to the same place? There's plenty of room. Like, let's just share a taxi. We'll pay for it. Hop in. Start talking to them. They're from LA. He's been to a bunch of shows. It was his father's or the son's few shows as well.
Yeah, I think he'd only been to Metallica shows. But
I think so.
I think they went to LA or like somewhere in California, wherever they played, and then, or they had. I don't remember.
I don't remember either, but I remember that they were there with the mother and daughter as well. The daughter and mother went to night 1. Not really the daughter's style of music, but she went to the show which is awesome. Or she went to the show, which is awesome. Night 2 was just the dad and son. They had snake pick tickets. But night 2, mom and daughter had sort of a spa day and just a lone day with themselves, which is awesome. Like, dad and son go off, do your thing. We're going to go do our thing. We were talking about picks in the car with them. And I love it with the kids. Like, we're like, oh, did you guys get picks? And we're like, yeah, we got picks too. We just sort of throw them in a cup behind us. Like, we don't do anything with it. Like, everybody goes ape shit for picks. Like, it's just a piece of plastic. Nobody's going to use it anyway. It's just going to sit on like a shelf or something. And the dad's like, turns to his son, like, how about you? You going to use your pick? He's like, we'll see. And we like, oh shit, you play guitar. Are you any good? I've been playing for 7 years, so yeah, I'm kind of good. Just the fucking, it's such a teenager attitude and like response.
I'm fucking awesome.
Right. It was like,
but then how his dad laughed, I'm like,
it made me smile, right? Like, that's such a fucking teenager thing to do.
Yeah. No, it was a good conversation. It was a fun conversation. Like, I mean, and same with them. Like, we just talked about what shows we were doing, like what we were doing in Madrid, like, you know, like all this. I don't know. It's so easy to talk to people. Like, we've said so many times on the podcast that we're like, oh, we saw these people, but we didn't go talk to them.
Right.
I think this trip changed that for us.
For sure.
And there's 2 things that I think that could have been part of it. One, we didn't speak the national language.
The
So
local language.
the local language. So every time we heard somebody speaking English, we
Somebody to talk
gravitated
to.
like we gravitated to them. I mean, we don't talk to people in real life. I mean, we only talk to each other. But also it's like we're all there for a like reason.
Yep.
So let's not everybody. I mean, the couple from Book of Mormon were not there for Metallica. But, it's like just able to gravitate and talk to people.
Yeah. And then we got there, and the dad paid for the taxi. He wouldn't let us do it.
Oh, yeah. Like, I gave him my credit card, and the guy's like, no. Or the dad of the group's like, no. Like, use mine or whatever.
It's like, all right, cool. Let me buy you a drink. He's like, nope, snake pick tickets. I don't want to leave to go to the bathroom. And like, all right, t-shirt, not a t-shirt, but like
anything.
Let me buy you something.
Yeah.
Like, no, don't worry about it. It's a good conversation. Fucking asshole, this guy. I tell you what, motherfucker. No, it's super fucking cool, dude.
Yeah.
Super
No,
cool.
he was not an asshole at all. But it's that awkward thing where it's like we had full intentions of planning on paying, and he like wouldn't let us. So
yeah, awesome fucking people all around. And then like we get on the plane to leave to go home. Like it's been a fucking fantastic trip. So fucking awesome.
well, we get to the airport to leave to go.
We get to
home.
the airport to leave. We get to our terminal. We get to our gate. All that fun shit. And we sit there for hours and not hours. It was a while. We sat there for a while.
So we got all the way through like the second screening of security.
Well, we were at the gate.
Yeah, like at the gate. So like when you're on a European trip, you like have to go through security to get into the airport, but then you have to go through security at the gate, or like passport control at the gate. That's what I mean, not security.
Sure. Oh, okay.
That's what I meant.
I thought you were talking about the additional security.
Well,
you had to go through.
I had the quadruple S's. On my ticket.
Only you have to do the triple security.
I did have the quadruple S's that I had to do.
In any case, we're standing in line. Our flight's supposed to take off. They don't let us on. We sit there for, I don't remember how long we sat there for, but we sat there for a long time before they eventually canceled our flight for literally a shitty reason. Half the toilets did not work. So it was deemed unsafe to fly.
After they told us we were flying home that day.
They told us the toilets didn't work on one half of the plane. If you don't want to fly, we understand. We'll figure things out for you, no charge. But if you want to, stick around, we'll blah, blah, blah. Eventually they canceled it. Go down, get your bags, we'll ship you off to a hotel. So we're down there waiting for our bags to come through the terminal. And I have my Madrid show shirt on for night 2, I think it is. And just like, I want to represent Metallica, and it's awesome. Also, forgot, while we were at the airport checking in, one of the people checking us in, one of the employees was like, saw the shirt and was like, oh, you went to the show? I was like, yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, they were through the other day. Yesterday. They were through yesterday.
Yeah.
I was like, what, really? And they ended up giving pics to the employees as they went through. And
yeah, that's really
she pulled out
awesome. She was so excited.
And I was like, holy shit, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah, she was so excited.
So, yeah, there was that. And anyway, we're standing there waiting for the things to go down. And there's
the bags to come. Yeah.
And there's this dude next to us, long hair, glasses, black pant, black shirt. You can tell he's like our people, right? Like he's into metal, or we assume. Like he looks like he'd be into metal. Maybe he went to the show, maybe he didn't. I don't know. We're not good at talking to random people, right? Anyway, he's standing next to us for a bit. We're chatting up, just you and I. And eventually he like looks at us and he's like, "Did you guys go to the show?" Yeah, we were there both nights. It was fucking awesome. How about you? Were you at the show? Yeah, I was there. Cool. Did you go both nights? No, I just played last night. I just played the second night. Like, oh, you played? Like, yeah, I'm in one of the bands. Oh, no shit, what band? Ice Nine Kills. What? Like,
we don't know people.
No, he's like, yeah, I'm Miles. I'm the guitar player for Ice Nine Kills. Holy shit, that's fucking awesome. And just sitting there talking to him a bit. Turns out he also plays guitar for Paint and Parish, which you were going to go see and didn't see.
Yeah.
You should have gone on that show.
I know.
God damn, you should have gone on that show.
Anyways.
And just sitting there talking to him about music and everything.
Yeah. And how shitty it was that their flight got canceled.
Yeah. Talking about our friends in Thrash of the Titans, how they're a tribute band for Metallica in Des Moines. Somehow that came up. And he's like, oh, yeah, my grandmother lives like outside of Des Moines or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know how this all happened. I don't know how it all, like how the whole conversation came. I remember how it started, like how the whole asking if we went to the show and that whole thing and us being like, oh shit, like we don't know who's in bands, I guess. But,
I mean, we really don't. We see a lot of bands.
No.
We listen to a lot of music, but it's same thing you were talking about was like Beyonce. Could you pick Beyonce
No, I
out?
couldn't.
I think I could because she's like up there in that stratosphere type.
Yeah.
Just like I could James and Corey and other Metallica, other Lars, Robert, and Kirk. Sorry, not others.
Yeah, there are people I could pick out, but like Ice Nine, like I've seen them perform like 5 times, 5 times, but like I don't know who the members are. I don't know any of their names. Well, now I know Miles, but I don't know any of their names or anything like that. Like there's so many bands that I've seen, and I wouldn't be able to pick, them out from, anybody, any celebrity. I would not be. I made the joke. So the Beyonce thing came up on a work call because there was a rumor that Beyonce was going to be here in Chicago for the DNC. And I don't know how that got started, but that was the rumor. And I was like, do you know what? Honestly, I could be, she could be walking down the street and I wouldn't even know who she was. And they were like, really? And I'm like, no, really. I was like, I could be in LA and I wouldn't know who anybody is. Like I'm not that person. I don't know who people are. Now, if it was like Metallica people or like Disturbed or, like a handful of bands, I could, but
yeah, in any case, super, super fucking awesome, dude. And
just down to earth and like,
and just like simply asking somebody like, oh, did you go to the show?
Yeah.
Did you have fun type thing?
Yeah.
Like,
and he wasn't like, did you see me play? Like I play. Like
it cost him nothing to do that.
Yeah.
And you know what? Honestly, I'm a fan for life. Anything this man does now, I'm like, all right, I'm going to go see it. I'm going to be a big fan of whatever you're the fuck in to support you because that's awesome. He will never fucking remember us, and I'm fine with that, but I will always remember this interaction. And the next day when we get on the plane, he's there as well.
Oh, yeah, because we got Burger King, and he saw us, and he like was like, hey, like, are we going to get home? Like, kind of like the whole, like, are we going to make it this time sort of thing? And then
I should get some Burger King. Do I have time? Like, yeah, plane time. Go get Burger King. And as he's walking back, we're starting to like board.
Yeah.
There's a dad and son in front of us who are on the same plane. He's like, "Did you guys go to the Metallica show?" Because that's the only clothes we had left over.
Oh yeah.
So, if you're traveling abroad or just traveling in general on planes, and your plane gets canceled, another good reason to buy merch. You have somewhat semi-clean clothes to change into when you don't have any clean clothes. That's the only reason we wore Metallica was because everything fucking was dirty except for our merch that we bought. But the dad's like, yeah, the guitarist from Ice Nine Kills was on our plane. Did you know that? It's like, we ran into him. Funny you speak.
Yeah, like, actually, we do know that.
And he walks up as we're talking to this guy, and the guy turns to him and is like, after our conversation yesterday, I was reading a newspaper about a molecule that changed its shape or changed its dynamics based on the environment that it's in. Which is apparently, I can't remember this, it's been so long since I've read the book, but the molecule in Cat's Cradle, my favorite book of all time by Kurt Vonnegut, which is called Ice Nine. I did not put two and two together, but
until
now
that conversation,
I'm 99% sure Ice Nine Kills gets their name from that book, and I now respect them for two reasons, so much more. Because they named themselves after my favorite book of all time, and I didn't fucking understand that, and Miles was such a fucking amazing human being, just like so down to earth, so fucking cool. Emma, at the show in Chicago, I ended up buying a shirt of theirs just to support them because, again, anything Miles is in now, I'm going to support the fuck out of that because that guy is so fucking nice. And yeah, the other group we met at that hotel, because it was like a buffet on a cruise.
Yeah, so they gave us, we got there before lunch. So they gave us lunch as a buffet and dinner as a buffet. I mean, they took care of us for canceling our flight. Yep. They really did. It was inconvenient, but they took care of us. And so at the buffet, like you go through and you get your food or whatever, but then when you sit, they kind of like sit you with people, and I think that was for like wine service or something.
So they had wine at the table already opened.
Oh, like free serve, right?
Yeah,
like where you could just serve self-serve, not free serve. But so we're sitting with a couple of guys and then another couple who really, I mean, the other couple didn't really talk to us. They like kind of ate and left, sort of thing, which is fine.
We get that. We already talked about how uncomfortable we are around other people. Like I completely understand that.
And I can't remember what the icebreaker was, but basically I think it was like he asked like, what are we gonna do with the wine? And I was like, take it back to your room. Like
I think the icebreaker was they were talking about going to the pool, and then the conversation moved on 10-20 minutes later, and then I turned to them, so you say they have a pool, huh? Like completely out like that. Nobody had said anything about a pool for 20 minutes. So clearly, I've been easdropping and listening to their conversation intently.
It is awkward to be sat. I mean, we did it on like another cruise that we went on. Like we sat with this, other
Two other
couples,
couples.
and then it turned into just us and one other couple, and we actually became kind of friends with them by the end of the cruise. But it's kind of awkward at first, but we so we sat with them at lunch, and then at dinner it was kind of a little bit different. We're like, I don't know if they were sitting people. I saw them sitting, and I'm like, hey, can we sit with our lunch buddies? Sort of thing, like to kind of just ease into it. And we had an actual full blown conversation the whole time about like baseball and Cleveland versus Chicago.
Well, so we did that, and then they went to the sports bar, and we went to the sports bar with them a little bit later.
Yes, yeah, we continued the conversation.
The conversation there, and we just sort of hung out for the rest of the night, just drinking, hanging out, talking with each other. Maybe we'll cross paths again down the road, but no, that was fucking awesome. Just
I think just like again, like this trip kind of opened us up to talking to more people, and not that we're not awkward. We are very fucking awkward, but just having more like, able to hold on to a conversation a little bit longer. And they weren't there for Metallica. They were there for vacation with some buddies.
They were there for like a guy's trip.
Like a guy's trip kind of thing.
They were going to go somewhere else, and that kind of folded, so like we can go to Europe and do that.
They were both like, we have weeks off of work, so let's go to Spain, where another buddy was. So anyways, so they weren't there for Metallica. So, but I mean,
and honestly, that's just a handful of people we met. There's so many other people we met and interacted with, like on the train, also at this hotel, talking to random people.
We met a guy from Brazil that was
going to Metallica.
Going to Metallica.
We met another couple who went to Sick New World. On our same plane, who were walking to the buffet thing with us and hanging out with them. Like, just so many other people through the trip that we interacted with. Like, everybody in Spain, everybody on this trip was fucking amazing. So nice. Like, everybody's so fucking nice and down to earth. Like, genuine. That's what it. When I say down to earth, that's what I mean by. I mean genuine. They're like, they're not pretending to be something. They're just being who they are, and they genuinely care about you and what you are doing in that moment. Like, it's fucking awesome. People are so fucking amazing. Yeah.
And it just shows like how small the world is too. Cause
and as I said, like, we came here for Metallica, right? We came here to see Metallica, and that's the reason. Like, we've been saying we're going to Spain for years. We're going to do it. We're going to do it.
Next just Europe later. In general. Yeah.
We'll do it later. We'll do it someday. Here we put a pin in the map. We're going on this date because we bought $200 tickets. Like, we could have easily thrown that money away and called it good. Right?
Instead of spending the other thousands of dollars to get there.
Right. It's the fucking plane tickets alone, right? So, like, but we forced ourselves to do it because of this. And because we did, we met all these amazing, amazing people. Yeah. And we were there for the music, and it's kind of cheesy. I kind of cringe every time a band comes up there and they're like, we're really up here because of you, the fans. We do this because of you. Thank you. And it's like, every band says that. It's cheesy. It's bullshit. Fuck you for saying it. But honestly, I now have a respect for that line. I have a deeper respect because of our interactions with all of these people.
Yeah, I guess in my mind, when I'm not saying that you're wrong there, but like whenever they said that, I agreed. Like, oh yeah, it is. I mean, we're there for the music. Yeah. They're there for the fans. It's, I mean, you say it all the time. It's that circle of, like energy and like why everybody's doing what they're doing. The cheesy part that I think of is always where they're like, oh, Chicago's the best city ever. Because I'm like, as soon as you go to Detroit, you're going to say, Detroit's the best city ever. Yeah. So that's the part that I think is cheesy. But the people, for sure. And Metallica's a big one. I mean, every band almost does this. But like Metallica's always, I mean, I even have like the Soy Familia shirt on. But it's like, it's a Metallica family. And the people that we met because of Metallica, and even the people who weren't there for Metallica, it is a family.
It is. And then, I mean, like I said, I always felt like that was very cheesy. Like, you're in the family. What is it? James always comes up and he's like, whose show is this their first Metallica show? And you see the hands. They're like, holy shit, that's fucking awesome. Well, you're in the family now and you can't fucking leave the family. Yeah. You're here for fucking ever. We locked the door. Sorry. Kind of an abusive relationship, to be honest. But then it's like...
Well, first he says, why did it take you so long? But it doesn't matter. You're here now and you're stuck.
Because the door is fucking locked. But then it's like, all right, who's seen us before? And like the whole crowd is like, yeah, that's right. We're a fucking family now. And I get it. It's a cool moment. Kind of fucking cheesy. But again, because of all these interactions, it's because of Metallica. Like,
Yeah.
we have these interactions because of Metallica.
Yep. And I mean, like the two people that we saw in Spain and then we saw them here in Chicago again, it's like, you know, it's that small world thing where it's like, oh shit, like we saw each other 3,000 miles away and now we're seeing each other again.
Exactly.
And maybe someday our paths will cross again and we'll see them again. So
by far, the best experience of this was the people.
Yeah.
The
100%.
music, close second. No, not close second. Distant second.
Yeah.
The people we met, the people we interacted with, the experiences we had with those people are so fucking good. And the music was a distant second. And I'm glad we went there because of the music, but I'm more happy because of the people we met and the interactions we had. And the last thing I want to say is waiting in line here in Chicago, again, for Metallica, for merch on, I think of the first day or something. I can't remember what day. There were a couple people in line behind me. And I heard them saying, and I didn't interact with them, I should have, but I heard them saying, like, man, I would love to go to another country that we don't speak the language and see a show and just experience that. You don't know what they're saying, you don't know what's going on. Like, it'd just be a fun experience. And that's what this was for us. We really didn't know what was going on. When I went to the bullfight, I didn't fucking speak English. You speak better Spanish than I do. Like,
and I don't speak Spanish.
By a fucking mile. And I
can order food.
I still enjoyed the experience interacting with people during that, right?
Yeah.
Like, especially at a concert, at a metal show, just any music really. And I heard this as well the other night when we were at Kitty. There was a couple of women standing next to us, and one of the women was saying she used to go pre-COVID to a show every single week. And her friend was like, if you're going to a show, tell me. I don't want you to go alone. She's like, no, it's fine, because if I go alone, the people I'm there with in the crowd, we're all here for the same reason.
Yeah.
We're here for the music. We're here to enjoy. This is your community. You are, like, these are your people. When you're here to see the music, it doesn't throw religion, throw race, throw ethnicity, sexual orientation, like, throw all that shit away, throw your politics away. Because in that moment, you don't give a shit about any of that. You care about the music, and you care about being happy. And the music is what makes you happy. And the language barrier is just one of those things. Like, throw that fucking shit away, because you're there for the music, and you're there to have a good time, and the music is going to help you have a good time. So it's... Especially
the crowd. I mean, the language barrier in the crowd was interesting, just because people try to talk to us, and I'm just like, I can't hear you, and I don't know what you're saying.
And like, fuck it, whatever. We're here. Let's have fun. You know when to fucking headbang. You know
exactly.
You know when to jump. You know when to throw the fucking horns up.
Yeah.
Like,
well, and even if it was, so say while we were there, like, say we found a Spanish metal band, I don't know, like at some club or whatever, and if we would have bought tickets and went, it would have been all in Spanish, but we would have still known, like, the breakdowns and the guitar riffs and, like, I mean, it's just the language.
You're still
like,
with your fucking family.
Yes.
Like, it's...
Yeah. I mean, we didn't do that. And now it kind of was like, oh, man, we should have sought something like that out.
Yeah, we should have. We always say, go check out live music. That's how we always end our shows. Or, you know, that's how we always ended our show, right?
Yeah, we have always. I think that was like one of the first things you said, and we've always ended it that way.
Recently, though, it's like, we'll catch you at the next show. But, I mean, we always say, go check out live music because X, Y, Z, right? And this is a prime example of why to go check out live music. But music as a whole is this whole thing, right? So, but live is when you're going to have these experiences with these people. You're going to meet these people. So go check out live music. It's going to make you happy. It's going to be fucking awesome. You're going to meet amazing, amazing people, and you're going to have amazing interactions that you won't have if you sit at home and don't go check out live music. So go see a live fucking show, and we'll catch you at the next one.
Yep. Bye.